JD stand for in JD Salinger? We'll go to Melissa. Hi there, Melissa.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. All right, so JD Salinger, what does JD stand for?
Jerome David.
You're correct.
Hey!
Jerome David Salinger. Hang on, Melissa. You just got yourself a $150 gift card for Fogo to Show. And when you order at Fogo, you don't order an entree. You order a night of different things to taste and enjoy. Experiences carved tableside. Get to Fogo to discover your next or what's next. And you can make a reservation for Center City or King of Prussia at Fogo.com. At the box office this weekend, no big surprise. Number one was The Eternals. You know, anytime you get a Marvel title out in theaters, it's going to be number one. It made $27.4 million, followed by Clifford the Big Red Dog at $14.5 million. Dune is still in the top three, followed by No Time to Die, Venom, Let There Be Carnage, Ron's Gone Wrong, The French Dispatch, Belfast is number 8.
Oh, see that.
Number 9 is Spencer. And rounding out the top 10 was Rantlers, with 1.1 million. That's
So
a
these
movie called Antlers.
movies are starting to get more box office traction, even though some of them, like Shang-Chi, is now on
It's
HBO.
on Disney Plus.
Disney Plus, yeah.
Yeah, but there was like even as recently as 2 or 3 months ago, Preston, when you would get to the 8th, 9th, 10th, they were in the hundreds of thousands of
Correct.
dollars,
Yeah,
and now
correct.
they're over $1 million. So,
Yeah.
Steve, to your point, like they're sticking around longer and they're making more money, which is a good
Getting
sign.
back to Rantlers. And Rantlers sounds
And Rantlers
great. Yeah,
hanging in the top 10. How about that?
absolutely.
All right, Britney Spears' conservatorship has been terminated after 13
Yeah!
years. The California court has determined it.
I was waiting outside her house on Saturday, Preston. I flew out to L.A. and
Oh, nice.
joined the gang. We were all so thrilled.
Judge Brenda Penny ruled on Friday afternoon and said the court finds and determines that the conservatorship of the person and the estate of Britney Jean Spears is no longer required. The November 12th hearing was brief, ran smoothly as all parties consented to termination. The pop star was not present at the hearing. Her attorney, though, Matthew Rosengart, began speaking to the judge by reading from his client's testimony that she delivered back in June, stating that her wish is for the conservatorship to end without evaluation. Quote, the record is clear. The time has come today. Rosengart told the judge that he has put in place a safety net on both the personal and financial side of Spears' affairs. And he said that we have engaged in an orderly transition of power. The conservatorship is fully terminated, but accountant John Zabel, who replaces Spears' father, Jamie, following his suspension, will have limited and administrative control, I guess. I lost the second page of the
So
story.
I think they're still investigating this whole thing about him, the dad, Jamie Spears, bugging her bedroom with audio
my
equipment, and that's something that is not going away. So they're still involved with that aspect of this whole thing.
I wonder what will be next for Britney, if anything will indeed be next, as far as high profile and in the public eye goes.
She's getting married. That's coming up. And she's also apparently has said that she wants to walk away from entertaining for a while, for a couple of years.
Okay. Well,
I mean, remember she had that residency in Vegas for a while.
Yeah. So we'll see where it goes.
Huh.
All right. So there's a little bit of a spoiler alert in this particular story, and it concerns the morning show with Jennifer Aniston. So I don't know if you're all caught up or not, but just giving you a quick bit
I'm
of
not.
warning.
You're
Is
not?
it-
Cover your ears.
It's no big
Cover your
deal.
That's not
headphones.
right.
So Jennifer Aniston sat down with USA to discuss the moment her character on the morning show, Alex, contracted COVID-19. She said bringing the pandemic on to the show felt normal. The 52-year-old said, I would feel even stranger to be doing a Western or something that had nothing to do with it, where you really had to just live in an alternate universe where COVID didn't exist. Aniston said her character's diagnosis is very poetic in a way. It's the final straw just to take her fully down to her knees and strip her completely naked. She also opened up about a statement in which she said she had cut off people who weren't vaccinated in real life, generating some headlines, not in a good way. But she clarified it, saying, I wasn't cutting people off like, how dare you not be vaccinated. It felt like my responsibility as a human being because there are people that work here in my office who are compromised health-wise. The reality is, if someone who is unvaccinated comes into my home and they're asymptomatic and they don't know that they have it, it's a very dangerous situation. So for me, it's being mindful of people who have health issues.
It's been an interesting season because they've definitely shot some during the height of the pandemic and so it starts, season 2 starts right before the pandemic really got awful. And so they have scenes in and around New York City where the streets are empty and nobody's out there. And so it's kind of interesting to see how they filmed that and how they then incorporated it into the show.
Yeah, I heard it's a great show. I've watched the first couple episodes, and we're going to get back into it.
It gets dark.
Dakota Johnson has spoken about her grandmother, Tippi Hedren's experiences in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And how she believes her career was ruined by Alfred Hitchcock.
Now, you'd think the other way because he kind of discovered her, but Alfred Hitchcock had, a very troubling history.
Yeah. Johnson took part in the Hollywood Reporter's Awards Chatter podcast where she explained that Hedren was, quote, very encouraging when the time came to pursue her own career despite the abuse that Hedren endured. She said, she's always been really honest and firm about standing up for yourself. That's what she did. She said Hitchcock ruined her career because she didn't want to sleep with him, and he terrorized her. He was never held accountable. Hedren, who is 91, claimed that she was sexually assaulted by Hitchcock several times during the making of his 1963 film The Birds, as well as 1964's Marnie. She said, it's completely unacceptable for people in a position of power to wield that power over someone in a weaker position, no matter the industry. Johnson said, it's hard to talk about because she's my grandmother. You know, you don't want to imagine somebody taking advantage of your grandmother. And said, I think the thing that she's been so amazing for me and with my mother is just like, no, do not put up with that crap from anybody, she said. She would say it in a far more eloquent way. She's such a glamorous movie star still.
She'd say dookie.
Hedren wrote that she didn't tell anyone of the assault because sexual harassment and stalking were terms that did not exist in the early 60s.
Well, there's that movie with Scarlett Johansson and Anthony Hopkins playing Alfred Hitchcock where it's about the making of Psycho, and you can see how he was with his actresses.
Yep.
And he had a type. He had that blonde, porcelain skin, Grace Kelly sort of look, and that was his thing.
Last week, Johnson received some criticism for saying that she has mixed feelings when it comes to cancel culture and her controversial former co-stars Johnny Depp, Armie Hammer, and Shia LaBeouf. She said apparently all three men, she didn't say this, all three men have been accused of abuse, which they have all denied. However, Johnson said that she felt, quote, sad that the actors have been subsequently canceled while also expressing her sympathy for anyone who was harmed or hurt. She said, I never experienced that firsthand from any of those people. She said she had an incredible time working with them. She said, I feel sad for the loss of great artists. I feel sad for people needing help and perhaps not getting it in time. And I feel sad for anyone who was harmed or hurt. She's just sad.
She's just sad. I wonder if she ever went to Armie Hammer's house for dinner. Imagine that. Would you, with the cannibalism stuff, would you reconsider what you might have had that night?
Yeah, I don't know.
He's into that.
Meadow Walker. I had to look her up. That is Paul Walker's daughter, 23 years old, revealed that she had a tumor removed a few years ago.
Whoa.
Shared a picture of herself wearing a medical hair cover and fiducial markers, which are used for an MRI to create 3D scans on the brain.
Right.
These marks were on her forehead. She wrote, 2 years ago today, and I've come a very long way. Bye-bye tumor. Blessed and grateful, she captioned the photo. Celeb pals, including Christy Turlington and Vin Diesel, shared their love for her. So I guess they were able to take care of her.
Did Vin Diesel walk her down the aisle? I think she got married recently. Yeah, he did, right?
I assume that's her. I don't know if Paul Walker had more daughters, but yes, he did. Last week, I think it took place, or maybe the week, just the week before, but not that long ago. Former Bachelor Ben Higgins married Jessica Clark in Nashville, Tennessee over the weekend.
I love you.
He tells people, that's him on the mic at the reception.
I just want to say, I love her. I love you.
He tells people, I'm so excited.
I just can't hide it. I'm about to lose control, and I think I like it.
He said we have.
I'm so excited.
He said we have so much to look forward to. And I know that we have a beautiful marriage.
Yes.
Several Bachelor alums joined as well.
How exciting.
Nick Viale.
Yes, of course.
Becca Cuffrin.
Yeah.
Thomas Jacobs.
The GOATs.
And Wells Adams.
Wells Adams.
Of all time.
Yeah, of course. Wells is my man.
Yeah, so they were all there. And
Wells is actually, I think, engaged to, from Modern Family, the eldest daughter. What's her name again? Sarah Hyland?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, no. Sarah Hyland's the mom, right?
No.
No. Who's
That's
the mom?
Julie something. or other.
Julie
Yes.
Bowen.
Bowen,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
You're right.
Anyway, at a pre-wedding party, so let's go to another wedding.
Yay!
Another wedding
I
activity.
love weddings. Don't you, Kathy?
This is a pre-wedding party for Simon Huck
Simon Huck.
and Phil Rapatella. Kim Kardashian, who is, of course, in the midst of divorcing Kanye, performed a last-minute stand-up routine.
Oh, she's great.
What?
Yeah, so I guess she got up on stage, and she said, I was a little bit confused because I haven't really figured out this marriage thing myself. So I don't know what kind of advice and things I'm going to give you guys tonight. I fingered the guy. Okay.
Wow.
And she added she fingered,
the guy.
So that was her.
She's good with those off-the-cuff jokes.
That was her big line. You know.
They didn't expect that
That's her
one.
catchphrase.
I fingered the guy. That's her. Get her done.
I fingered the guy.
Yeah. She has a cap. She wears a cap that says, I fingered the guy.
What?
Look at your catchphrase there.
Catchphrase comedy.
Yeah.
So that was it. Simon Huck and
She turns
Phil
to the camera. I fingered the guy.
Rapatella. They got married, or no, it was a pre-wedding.
It was
party.
a Nutella thing.
But they hired Kim. So speaking, let's stay with the whole wedding
Please.
theme for a little while. This is an engagement. Actor Taylor Lautner and his girlfriend Tay Dome are engaged now.
Were you Team Taylor or were you Team Pattinson?
I was on another team.
Okay.
I was on a whole other team. I was playing a different sport, actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know.
Do you remember when all that was happening? Those movies
my
rolling out?
God, it's so
Everywhere.
funny how
Yeah.
big those stories were.
Gigantic, and now
Yeah.
they're just laughably banal.
I went
Yeah.
to the town where a lot of that was filmed in Washington State
Oh,
this
yeah?
summer. It's called Forks. And,
They didn't burn it down?
well, they are still trying to milk the tourism out of that.
The Midnight series?
Well, Twilight.
Oh, Twilight, right?
Yeah, and there's like a little Twilight museum. There's not a whole lot going on in Forks, so I can
There's a
understand.
Twilight Museum.
Yeah, there's like the board of I don't know, tourism or whatever. There's posters of Taylor
Wow.
Lautner and Robert Pattinson that look
I
like,
guess so.
they're about 10 years old, and
okay.
they're trying to milk it still.
Well, anyhow, the couple both shared images of a romantic marriage proposal on their Instagram pages on Saturday. They're surrounded by rose petals and candles.
It's beautiful.
He's pictured wearing a suit while on one knee, holding a ring box and looking up at Dome. He posted 11/11/2021 on Instagram.
numbers.
And he wrote, and just like that, all of my wishes came true. Dome,
a werewolf.
a registered nurse, echoed the announcement saying, my absolute best friend. I cannot wait to I cannot wait to spend forever with you.
He got skinny, Taylor Lautner.
Yeah, he has definitely.
He used to be really buffed up.
Yeah.
I mean,
the movies.
I do hate that
a werewolf.
that phrase. I can't wait to spend the rest of my life with you. Like you already are.
Yeah. You're in the process.
You already are
Yeah.
in the process of spending the rest of your life with her. So
Shut up.
you
So you don't have to wait anymore.
don't have to wait anymore.
No. The couple went public with their relationship in 2018 when Lautner shared images of the duo dressed up for Halloween on his Instagram page. His sister, McKenna Lautner, shared in the couple's excitement and commented on their announcements about how excited she was.
His name was bandied about when all that stuff was going on with Bryan Singer. Remember when he was sort of grooming?
Oh, yeah.
And I think the word was he might have attempted to put the moves on Taylor Lautner,
Maybe.
but was rebuffed.
Well, let's keep going, all right? Because
Yes?
Paris and Carter Ram continued their epic wedding celebration this weekend with a carnival at Santa Monica Pier. Aw. The 40-year-old wore a Barbie-inspired wedding outfit Friday night, a full-length
They don't like Barbie.
asymmetric hot pink gown with tulle and mesh overlay embellished with bling.
What?
She also wore pink heart-shaped sunglasses and a pink wedding veil.
Sounds like a real circus.
She shared images of herself with Riem, sister Nikki, brother Barron, and mom Kathy, Aunt Kylie Richards, and a host of
Jethro and Ellie Mae.
media influencers and DJ Diplo, who kept the party going. Hilton's wedding singer, Demi Lovato, and Billy Idol Plus, Lily Pons and Lance Bass also showed up to partay.
Wow.
So it's multi-millions of dollars.
Yeah.
He's fabulously wealthy, as you'd well imagine, right? So he
I don't know where he comes from.
he definitely has money. I know that.
At the pier, they danced, hung out, and whack-a-mole, balloon popping, mini basketball games, ring tosses, and on and on.
This is the actual wedding?
No, it's the third day of the wedding.
Yeah, there were street performers on stilts, and Paris gave out boxes of her perfume.
Did they rent out the whole pier for themselves?
I guess so.
They rented out the Pacific.
That kind of sucks for anybody else who was trying to go to the pier that day.
They'll be divorced in 2 years.
Yeah, don't worry.
Several celebs showed up for the enormous wedding on Thursday after her grandfather's former estate, including Kim Kardashian, Nicole Richie, Paula Abdul, BB Rexa, Emma Roberts, and Norma Stitz.
Norma Stitz was there?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be great to just have, like, next to somebody, like, a head of state?
Yeah.
You know, like
Norma Stitz.
Norma
Yeah.
Stitz.
What do you do? I have huge knockers.
Yeah.
Nick, it's like the poor people that come to the Cardboard Classic, come to Jack Frost to go
yeah.
skiing for the day and don't know that we're going to be there with like 500 of our closest friends.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, picked a bad day. All right, how about this? We're done with the weddings.
Yes.
We're finished.
It
with
was
last
magical and wonderful and full of love.
And just like that, a new chapter begins, says Sarah Jessica Parker's Carrie in the new HBO Max teaser for its Sex and the City revival. And just like that, it stars her, Cynthia Nixon, and Kristen Davis in a revival that will explore the complications of life and friendship in their 50s.
Is anyone in this room excited about this or interested?
No.
Oh, I'm not at all.
Yeah.
I do not care in the slightest. Chris Noth, David Eigenberg, Evan Handler, Mario Cantone, and the late Willie Garson are returning.
Oh, he's in it.
Not Kim Cattrall. Yeah, I guess
That's
they
good.
filmed some scenes. So the show will bow on December 9th, by the way. All right, a movie called Prey,
Yes.
spelled Prey, is set to stream on Hulu in the U.S. and star globally in the summer of 2022. Prey is part of the Predator universe.
I'd be curious to see what this is like.
Its official logline is set in the world of the Comanche Nation 300 years ago.
So this goes all the way back when the Predators started visiting Earth.
Yeah, for sport, right?
You know, the slug line for the movie is, I fingered the guy.
It said the action thriller follows Naru, the skilled warrior who fiercely protects her tribe against a highly evolved alien predator.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
I would be
take.
curious to see what the Predator or of that period, a couple hundred years ago, would have at their disposal.
Yeah, if it was less tech.
Right, like
maybe.
Nerf guns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They hadn't really, figured out that technology
No, right.
for the laser thing on his shoulder.
This
or
isn't
whatever.
good.
Yeah, Nerf.
It's hard
It just
to kill these
bounces right
things, yeah.
off of them. Well, let's see. The Great British Bake Off has been renewed by British Network Channel 4 through 2024.
I love this show.
It's a good show.
I love the show. I ended up watching a lot of the Halloween Bake Off stuff and the Christmas. Give me a holiday Bake Off show, and I'm there.
Steve, why is it so? Why do you want to binge that show as much as you do? Because
Well,
I do.
Because I don't know that it's creative, and it has sort of that Iron Chef thing where they
Yeah.
give them, specific ingredients, and it's so manipulative, and the clock is ticking. 5 minutes, but I love it.
So this will include Bake Off and Extra Slice, Junior Bake Off, Junior Bake Off, Bake Off, The Professionals,
Jerk off the Bake Off.
The Great Celebrity Bake Off for Stand Up to Cancer, and The Great Pottery Throwdown.
Ooh,
Okay.
have you watched the britishversion? It's the best version, I think.
Yeah, that's the only version I've seen.
Yeah, this is an American version that's okay, but the British version, the judges are all really cool.
But wait a minute.
what's
The
the pottery?
Great Pottery Throwdown.
Okay.
I don't know anything about that, but
I guess maybe because you bake pots, right? Like, do you not?
Well, yeah,
Like
I
to
would.
stick them in
Maybe they're going to be. They're going to have a kiln or something like that.
You also,
Tastes terrible.
You also throw clay, so maybe the throw in that.
Well, I don't know. It's a good question. Nick's going to look that up and see if we can find a description of the plot or the format of that particular show.
So in the movie Ghost, in that
Pottery scene, yeah.
the pottery scene, they eventually do make love after that, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
They wash their hands?
No.
Okay.
His dong is covered in clay.
I did that not long ago. The not making love, the throwing clay. It's really difficult. I did it with your friend Eva Preston. She's
Okay.
and she's
The sculptor.
sculptor and incredibly talented. I had no idea what a workout that was. You really have to manipulate the clay.
Yeah.
It's really hard.
Did you play Unchained Melody?
Well, yeah, of course you have to.
Did you wash your hands after that?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
When you
you
spanked
have
it later on, were your hands
Yeah.
clean or
I
covered
made-
in clay?
I made love to myself, but I had washed my hands.
So yeah, they said this is according to the CEO of Love Productions. We are delighted to have extended Bake Off's stay on Channel 4 for another 3 years. So if you like that show, it's continuing on. All right, one last story, and then we will move on. According to Hollywood Reporter, the Doctor Strange sequel,
Yes.
Multi-Universe of Madness, is about to undergo some significant reshoots.
Huh?
Sources say that reshoots are common. One saying we've had bigger reshoots on the other MCU movies. And again, another source says that given that they'll be filming to the end of the year, that's like a whole other movie that they're reshooting. So in the Multiverse of Madness also brings back Benedict Wong's Wong character, Chiwetel Ejiofor. I always mess his name
It's a
up.
tough name.
Turncoat Carl Mordo. I've been wondering what's happening with him.
Yep.
Rachel McAdams, Christine will be back as well, on top of bringing Elizabeth Olsen's Scarlet Witch into this wing of the MCU.
Which you saw teased at the end of WandaVision.
Correct.
Yes.
All right, we're ready for clips now. In Kingstown, Michigan, the McCluskey family brokers between police, criminals, inmates, prison guards, and more. In this clip, Emma Laird talks about what she wanted to bring to her Mayor of Kingstown character. Here we go.
I just wanted to tell the truth because I think some of the things that Iris goes through are really harrowing. They're really the worst things that women can go through. And I really just wanted it to be authentic. And I really wanted to, I knew I was doing a good job when I was really not in a good place emotionally and mentally because it felt authentic to me.
Blah, blah, blah.
Mayor of Kingstown is streaming now on Paramount Plus.
I actually just started watching this last night. I don't know who her character is. I don't know if I've met her yet.
She plays Lottie.
Oh, okay, then yeah, I remember her. No, it's really, really good. It's really interesting. It's not necessarily what I had envisioned or what I thought
You were
it was
thinking of a
gonna be.
baking competition,
I
right?
was, where they were throwing clay.
It looks good. The
What'd you
cast
think?
is certainly stellar.
What did you think it was going to be?
I thought it was going to be more like gangsterish.
Oh,
And what is it?
It's so the premise of this is like this one particular area. There are an S-load of prisons in a small
Square
diameter
mileage? Yeah.
square mileage, and Jeremy Renner's character and his brother, they kind of like help things on the inside by doing things on the outside.
so they're bad guys. Bad-ish.
They don't think of themselves that way.
Mhm.
Yeah, and they sort of discuss that at the end of the very first episode.
All right, interesting.
Streaming on Paramount Plus. Here's the next clip for you. In Cowboy Bebop, a ragtag crew of bounty hunters travel the galaxy for the most dangerous criminals, but only for the right price. In this clip, John Cho talks about his perspective on this movie adaptation.
I think it's important to like what your the source material, but I came to it late, obviously, and fell in love when I saw it, which was after I got the role. But yeah, I don't think it needs to be a prerequisite. I think also there are certain things, certain steps along the way where I went, oh, I'm kind of glad in this moment that I came in fresh.
Cowboy Bebop is coming to Netflix this Saturday if you are interested.
Did you watch the series when it was on Adult Swim?
No.
Okay.
No, I've never heard of it.
Yeah, it's very popular.
Okay. That's my entertainment report for you this morning. We've got Daybreak. We have a cool Monday in store for us, but bizarrely, temperatures warming up to 70 degrees by the time we get to Thursday. But that's like a one-off, and then it returns to kind of what you're experiencing right now. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back in just a moment and welcome you to the work week. We'll be right back.
Preston and Steve on 93.3
YouGov polled
WMMR.
adults who said that they intend to watch Super Bowl and revealed how they answered the question, which, if any, of the following foods do you plan to serve or eat while watching the Super Bowl this year? So I'm gonna read off all of the ones that they asked about. Mm-hmm. You guys tell me which one you thought was most people said yes to.
Right.
Okay.
All right, so pizza, nachos, cheese and crackers, burgers, chicken wings, cookies, ice cream, and chips and dip.
What was the number one of those?
Yeah, what do you think?
I mean, the one that usually gets I believe, is probably the wings.
I would go
and pizza.
Yeah, no, really, I would go pizza less. I would probably normally. I would have gone with you with the wings, but I think chips and dip is probably the number one.
All right.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I think chips and dip too.
Yeah, chips and dip.
It is chips and dip. Chicken wings is second. Pizza's third, Case.
Wow.
There you go.
Pizza's way up there.
We're very good at this.
Now it's set. Now okay, and then it says nachos.
That's chips and dip.
That's kind of I count that as chips and dip.
Okay.
I mean, it's not technically
Crock of
dip.
crap.
It's a combo of chips and dip.
Yeah.
This is the worst list ever.
It makes it, but it's its own category as a result.
And I guess because nachos,
It's like
I think,
bronze.
Yeah, it's like what?
It's like bronze. You know, it's like you combine copper and zinc, you get bronze.
Are people eating bronze for Super Bowl?
No, I'm making an
You really
analogy.
shouldn't.
Yeah, that's what Transformers eat when they watch the Super Bowl.
This is excellent bronze.
Here, dip it in this aluminum.
Honey, more platinum, more platinum. Yeah, it's very good.
I didn't. Okay, I had no idea.
I want to make a clarification going back to the bronze
Please
joke. Brass is copper and zinc.
Oh, my God.
Bronze is copper and tin.
Are you sure this is bronze? It tastes like copper and zinc.
We had a beautiful sunrise this morning. I mean, and it was great because, as Nick noted, as I looked outside, it was like 6:05 and there was daybreak, and that's a wonderful thing for us early risers, starting to see the sun that early in the day.
Well, the exact moment that the sun creases the sky every morning, people don't know this, but Kathy stands in a pentagram and slits a chicken's throat.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Hey, we get to eat chicken for breakfast. So.
Yeah.
Also, it stays darker later. You know, so
Stays darker later.
I mean, stays lighter later.
Longer. Yeah.
It stays
I gotcha.
later darker.
Oh my God.
No, because I noticed that yesterday too. It was 6-ish, and it was still nice and bright out.
Yeah.
This is good.
Lighter later.
Yeah.
It gets darker later. It
gets-
stays lighter later.
It dark. Dark.
It gets lighter
Dark and dark.
sooner.
Yeah.
Have you been off since you left the house this morning because of what happened with your coffee mug?
Yeah, probably.
You didn't hear this story, Preston.
No,
it's
I
going to be
didn't.
a Lifetime movie. Judd
What's
Nelson's
going-
playing.
I'm sorry, guys. I got to answer this. Donna Levine's calling me. I don't even know who that is. I just got a call on my watch that distracted me. Preston, I made myself some coffee last night.
Okay.
All right. So can I tell you a quick story?
Yeah.
Let me just.
Were you laughing at how happy he was at himself for doing that?
The audio.
Yeah, it was my quick story.
Yeah, that was his joke.
Preston,
I'm gonna tell you a quick story. Wow.
If only.
I love it.
Wow, I got a laugh out of Kathy. I
hearty laugh.
I set my coffee
I didn't
timer
have to listen to the story.
every night.
You were free.
Coffee.
And so I was on my way into work this morning, poured my coffee, and the very first sip tasted off. And I was like, there's something going on here. Yeah. And so I gave it a couple of more sips. It just tasted like dishwashing liquid. It was like Palmolive. So
Yeah, I had that happen.
And it just, and I need those 20 ounces to wake up on my way into work this morning, and I didn't get that.
Oh, so you tossed it out and
Yeah.
bailed on it, didn't
Yeah.
make another cup?
I thought maybe I was going to die from poisoning or something like that, so I decided not to drink
You
it.
don't ever finish a cup of coffee that you feel has been poisoned.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's remarkable though. Like little things can and set your day in the right direction
my
or in
God.
the completely wrong direction. And that one set. I mean, I'm sure the rest of the day will be fine or whatever. But like a little thing just like that, it puts you in a bad mood. And like I get it. I totally understand where you're coming from, man. It's frustrating.
I haven't picked up on any out of the ordinary.
No, you've been fine.
You seem the
Yeah.
same as usual. So you've been faking it all day?
Yep. Fake it till you
Good
make
job.
it, bro.
Good job, man.
You know what I'm saying?
He was tweeting about this yesterday, posting on social media
It's amazing.
that he was making a film, and it's based on a very well-known story. If you know Bert, you know the story. And what we didn't know is that Mark Hamill is now involved in this project. Amazing. Please welcome Bert Kreischer to our program. Morning,
How you
Bert.
guys doing?
Good, man. Hey, I have no idea what time it is in Serbia. What part of the day you are in now? What's the time?
It is 1:15 in the afternoon, but I've been sleeping all day.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Fair enough. When did you get in? How long have you been there?
You know what? It's all a blur. Like,
Okay.
we got in, I think, yesterday morning, and by the way, I slept on the flight. Like, I've just been sleeping nonstop.
Was, in fact, Mark Hamill on that flight?
He was.
Yeah, there's a great video that Mark
Yeah.
posted of him talking about this secret project that he's a part of, and you can see Bert comes around the corner with his shirt off, drinking wine. It was so well done. How did you get Mark involved in this movie, Bert?
So it's kind of tricky because of COVID. We kind of had to narrow it down to like it was a difficult sell because not everyone that is old enough to play my dad would want to come to Serbia.
Right.
And we got word that Mark Hamill was just interested, and everyone dropped everything and was like, "Hold on, that means Darth Vader's my grandfather."
I didn't even think about that.
We lost it, and we took a meeting with him, and he was, it's amazing. You forget, like, actors really know what they're talking about. Like, he had read the script, he had questions about it, he didn't like certain aspects of it and wondered if we could change it. And we were all like, "Mark, we'll turn this into whatever movie you want it to be."
Yeah. No, it's so cool. One thing since the beginning of the exposure to Mark Hamill in interviews, even for way back when the first Star Wars movie came out, one thing was clear. The dude has a really good sense of humor. So he's got to connect to stuff like this.
I told him, I said, "I want to shoot a promo outside the private jet like I do for my tours for this." And so we had like a crew from Legendary to go shoot it. And I said, I gave him, I swear to God, I've given so many more notes to people. All I said was, I'm going to do like an intro read. You just come up and I'll be like, "What's up?" And just say, "Just get on the plane." And I'll go, "Hey, I thought we could do that." And then just cut me off. We did one take and it turned perfectly. I sat with the executive from Legendary and I go, "Okay, I can't tell if that's because he's such a great actor or did we just get lucky?" Like,
Yeah.
Well, Bert, you strike me as somebody that not much rattles you, but maybe you'd be not intimidated by Mark, but are you blown away by the fact that he's in this movie with you? Because he is a legendary. He is Luke Skywalker.
We watched Star Wars the day before I left with my kids.
Yes.
And my daughters are like, "I cannot believe that's going to be Papa." Like, I cannot believe. He is the reason I got into movies. Like, it's not lost on me at all.
Wow.
So a couple things you mentioned. Is Legendary behind this? Are they is that the company?
Legendary.
So they're on a huge roll. And is this a Netflix movie or is it okay? It's
No, I know you can see me. I just shook my head as if we're not doing radio right now.
full theatrical release.
We want to put it in theaters.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dude, that's awesome. It's so cool. And so the fact that this, I was thinking about this when the whole idea of the machine, the movie came up. This was such a part of your embryonic act early on and what you would talk about. And the story is just incredibly, people never get sick of hearing about it, but this will now give you the opportunity once it's done, when people ask about it, you can just say, "Watch the movie." Because how many times have you told the story?
This isn't the origin. This isn't that story, though, isn't this?
It's a little bit past.
It's a follow-up to it, Bert?
So we had pitched versions of the story to a bunch of different places, and we went into Legendary, and this guy Kale, who is a guy who I ran into like 9 years ago, and he saw me do stand-up once in Burbank, and he gave me his card, and he goes, "I want to do a movie with you."
Wow.
This is like 9 years ago. And now I'm in his office, and he goes, "All right, you got to do one movie." He's like, "I want to do a movie with you. What movie do you want to do?" And I said, "Well, if I got one movie to do, it's The Machine." And he goes, "How would you tell that?" And I go, "I got to be honest with you, Kale. I don't know." I said, "My biggest fear is I'm going to get hired for a corporate one day, and I'll get there, and they'll go, 'Just tell The Machine,' and it'll be the Russian mafia." And he lit up and he goes, "Say no more. Say no more.
Wow.
Let's do this movie." And so,
Go ahead.
based off that little pitch, we got writers attached, then a director, and then all of a sudden everything kind of built off of that.
The director is Peter Antencio. Is that how it's pronounced?
Peter Intencio.
Intencio. So he's from Key and Peele, and he did the movie Keanu as well, right?
Yeah.
The guys.
And you forget, like, he really puts the work in. Like, I'm doing a wardrobe fitting the other day, and they're like, "Well, he sees a lot of oranges in this movie." And I was like, he's thinking about colors? And they're like, yeah, he's a director, you moron.
He's concerned with visuals?
I was like, I'm so used to doing like Instagram videos. I don't think about anything.
You don't think about color correction and things like that.
Oh, that's great.
So you're in quarantine right now for a couple days, right? When does filming actually start?
Filming, we have rehearsals for a couple weeks.
Okay.
Filming starts, I think, May 4th.
May 4th.
May the 4th be with you. That's right.
You gotta be kidding me.
Excellent.
Yeah, what's hilarious is we put out the video and it's got a lot of traction, and like everyone hit me up. Like even like people who don't get fazed by it, like Rogan was like, "Dude, Mark Hamill's your dad," and then and then I went on the news and my news Google feed, and I was in my own Google feed news, and it said Bert Kreischer is not going to rehab.
Yeah, Bert, I got an email from someone who was like, hey, since he's your godfather, I thought I'd reach out to you. Is Bert really going to rehab, or was that a joke?
I was like, there's no way.
There's no way. Yeah.
I said it to Casey.
Yeah, we were doing Two Bears, One Cave, and Segura wanted to say, congrats on the movie, and we couldn't talk about it yet.
Right.
And he goes, tell everyone where you're going. And I go, I can't. And he goes, just say it. And I go, I can't. And he goes, say it. And I go, I'm going to rehab. And it made us laugh. And we just kept talking about it. And then we forgot to say, I'm not going to rehab. Angela, everyone sent me these really heartfelt messages like, this is a new step in your journey.
Oh, my God.
Bert, have we
it's more
spoken?
believable that I would be going to rehab than shooting a movie.
Yeah.
Have we spoken to you since the whole Jennifer Aniston thing happened?
No, you have not.
Okay, so for our listeners, explain how that all came, how that all happened.
So Segura and I were doing Two Bears, One Cave, and he made up a lie, and he said he met Jennifer Aniston. and I really fell for it. And and it was a funny story, a funny lie. And then I said, we should make a pact. If we ever meet Jennifer Aniston, we've got to bring the other one with us. And he's like, okay. He's like, well, let's set up the scenario. You pitch it to her. How would you want to meet? And I said, I want to meet at her house. And he's like, that's a little aggressive to say, I want to meet at your house. And I was like, well, we can't do it at my house. We can't do it at your house. And he's like, should we bring our wives? I'm like, no.
Your cable. And it was, if you paid for it, you got straight up hardcore pornography piped in 24 hours a day. We never paid for it.
Okay.
I never even looked into that. But it was scrambled. And sometimes the signal would be clear enough and almost crystal clear, like as if you were paying for it. And I remember those very rare moments of going, how long will it last? How long will I have this?
I read an article about that because there were Spice Channel and other channels that were similar to that they started to offer at the beginning. That was by design, when you'd occasionally have a clearer signal would kick in.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Because that became such the thing that people go, oh, God, the hell with it, I'm just going to pay for it.
Okay, so when you ordered it, you weren't ordering it by the movie or by what was on at that point. Like you had it for the month.
Yeah, it's like you got HBO, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
You get whatever's coming up on there.
The Beast End for boner.
Yeah.
So it was a different experience. But yeah, and they would, God almighty.
And
I used to, we had a thing, Preston, it was called Cinema 100 in New York. And it was, it predates HBO. It's like your Prism here in a way. So you had one box with a slide, and when you slid it over to the other side, you would get the movies.
Right.
So with the porn channel, if you slid it 3/4 of the way, you'd start to get an slightly unscrambled porn signal.
And I do remember in the daytime hours, there would be music playing, like this, this jazz loop that would just go on and on and on. But after a certain time, they would have the regular audio on, and you would hear the straight up porn moaning and sucking and all that stuff, even though it was scrambled. So
sometimes that was enough.
Sometimes that was enough.
Listen, in a day and age when catalogs your mother got was enough, you could make hay out of it.
In fact, you could look at a catalog and just have the audio playing in the background.
You really were forced
put it all together.
Your imagination came into play a lot more. Like
that's the pioneer spirit.
Today's kids.
I mean, don't you remember, like at an age where you really could get off with the letters in the Penthouse Forum, like just read
absolutely
like,
reading that.
Yes.
You kidding me?
Yeah.
For real. It was.
I want to see pornography in every home in 10 years.
It was theater of the mind. Man. That's what it was.
Absolutely.
What was there was an alternate to the Forum that had its own magazine.
Had its own magazine?
Yeah, Penthouse
Oh,
Variations or
yeah.
something.
Call Me Madam was one
Was
of
that
them.
one? Okay.
That's Xavier Hollander,
Xavier
the
Hollander.
happy hooker.
Yeah.
She had the lipstick with the
with penis.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Very subtle.
We're bringing back memories.
And they were totally made up stories.
Yeah.
Somebody wrote
They
that
were not.
They were as if
they were
someone
real.
had actually sent them mail.
You'll never believe what happened.
Totally.
But it seems appropriate to talk about that around the holidays.
Yeah.
About
Right.
Thanksgiving. It's kind of a
Sure.
Penthouse Forum.
All right. Well, anyhow,
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I thought of
Good
that thing.
memories.
But listen, there was a story I wanted to mention, you guys. I saw this and thought this was kind of interesting. And a wedding photographer took to TikTok to say that she was recently photographing a wedding with a seasoned professional, someone who had been in the business for 10 to 15 years. And that person told her that there were 3 signs that a couple is not going to make
Oh,
it.
wow.
kidding.
During the picture process?
Yes,
Oh,
that
that's
they,
all right.
as a
That's
photographer,
interesting.
can tell if a couple's not going to go the distance.
I think you see enough, and by certain ratios, you can start to look for patterns. I'm very curious here.
And I'm wondering if there are other people that are within that industry, not just photographers, but maybe, caterers or wedding planners or even clergy, that when they are getting ready and all the preparations are taking place, that they'll go, this is not going to work.
When you throw it open to the congregants, is there anyone here? And it's the priest who objects. That's actually a bad sign. Yeah,
Yeah. I don't think this is a good idea.
Yeah, this is not good.
So I had one was a caterer said something to me, and it was not for my wedding, but a friend of mine. I had seen him after the wedding, and he said, "What is she doing with him? That's not going to last."
Ooh.
And sure enough, it didn't last.
Okay. Well, here's the photographer's 3 signs.
Please, I want to hear this.
So she explained that the first sign is if one of the spouses takes more than 3 photos without their partner. Okay. The second is if the bridesmaids or groomsmen will avoid talking about the spouse in any context. And the third is when the couple spend more time with family and friends than with each other during the day of their wedding. So these are just 3 little things that they notice.
Okay, I'm curious as to what levels. I remember there was and actually the marriage did not last. I remember the at that time the wife showing me their wedding album, and there were loads of pictures of her, but hardly any pictures of them together. Yeah, hardly any.
Right.
And I'm like, wow. And like dumb pictures too, because they like photoshopped her into a TV.
Oh,
like that. What?
Okay. I know I had one time we were invited to a wedding, and I didn't end up making, but a friend did go and said that, and it was through it was 2 trainers that were getting married, so physical trainers, and they worked in the same place, and apparently my friend was there with the coworkers, and while they were up at the altar, they were sitting there going, no way.
No way?
There's no way these 2 are going to go the distance. And they didn't. They didn't even make it a year.
My brother was a limo driver for years.
There's another one.
So he was a limo driver, and they were all, the bride and the bridesmaids were in the back of the limo, and the bride was commenting on how hot one of the guys was.
Oh.
And that marriage did not last.
Yep.
As you could imagine.
There are,
as you can imagine,
telltale signs.
Yeah. I mean, those things. I'd be curious to see, like, in the process, because it's such a divisive process when you're making your decisions for the wedding and the food and the cake and so on and so forth. I mean, I just said to Claire, please, whatever you want.
Oh yeah, me too.
I'm just happy to be marrying you. That's fine. So, but the guys who really want to participate in that and make the selections, they're going down a road to hell.
Well, I was there for all of it.
You went down a road to hell.
I did not. Now I kept my P's and Q's to myself.
Right, yeah.
But I was there. I was.
I went.
I was part of the whole process. And
did you nod? And
yeah. But I wasn't like, no, this is how it's going to be.
Yeah, when it came to the invitations, I was like,
whatever you want.
You're asking the wrong guy.
The only thing that I did pretty much 100% was I programmed the dinner music.
Okay.
And that was it.
Okay.
That was it. So for that,
Best of fish, hit play. Right?
dude, we played fish.
I know.
Yeah. And it was good stuff, but it
Yeah.
wasn't just fish. But it was the only way I could actually sneak fish into the actual wedding without anybody really going, what the hell is this crap?
Right?
Yeah.
Well, anyhow, so keep that in mind if you happen to be lingering about a wedding ceremony and you
Yes.
notice those three things.
Look for those telltale signs.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It's funny because you were going over that list, Preston. I'm like, well, all right, I'm divorced. So did any of these things happen in my wedding?
Did they?
No, I had a great wedding.
Yeah.
And I hope my ex-wife would agree. We had a really good time at our wedding. It everything afterwards.
No.
That didn't work so well.
That day was awesome.
Beautiful day.
It was great.
You're great people who just was.
Yeah, no, but it had nothing to do with the wedding itself.
Right.
Here's Chris, who does DJing for a wedding and wants to chime in on this. Hey, Chris, good morning.
Hey, Gadzooks.
Gadzooks, dude, what's up?
So, one of the telltale signs is if the bride is dancing with more guys than just the groom.
Okay.
Never. And I had one story of the bride came up to the booth and said, "Hey, I'm doing a special dance with my guy best friend," and it was like a slow dance, and I was like, "Oh,
wow.
okay, sure, we'll do this." So in today's world, you can just look on Facebook at anybody. So I remember the name, and like maybe 3 years later, those two are married now.
There you go. Those two were married.
Oh my God.
Yeah, when the bride asks for a pole to be placed on the dance floor,
Nice.
it's not going to be good.
All right, thanks, Chris. I appreciate it. With all this judging that we're doing of people,
Yes.
I thought this might be an interesting topic to bring up. And I saw this. It was a Reddit thread, and the question was, what do you instantly judge someone for?
Okay.
Ooh.
What
And-
action or it can be anything, right?
Yeah, and I, before I even read this, I'm like, well, I don't know, do I do that? And after reading a few of these, I'm like, yes, of course you do.
Everyone does to some extent. If I see a Hitler mustache, I'm going to make
Right.
I'm going to make a judgment about a guy.
So I'll throw a couple of these out there, and feel free to chime in and let us know what you instantly judge people for if you see them doing things. 215-263-WMMR. So here's one.
All right.
Walking around the store with their phone on speaker.
Oh, Jesus.
Get out. Leave the store.
I remember when that first
hate it.
started and you didn't have people using the speaker function, and it was initially the Nextel phones. Do you remember those?
I do.
Yeah.
And people
The
would walk around
walkie-talkie.
having open conversations. I cannot stand someone walking around with their phone on speaker all the time. It drives me crazy.
Yeah, I agree with you. It completely drives me crazy. I don't get it. Why do you think anyone wants to listen to your conversation? I don't care what you have to say. But I don't know that I'm judging that person. If that person were to hang up the phone and I stood behind them in line, for whatever reason a conversation started, I would be fine to have a conversation with them. I
Right.
don't know that I'm judging somebody for that. Like, I have an example of what I would judge for.
Judge someone for. Go ahead.
And well, this is probably going to make me sound terrible, but people's shoes. If I look at somebody's shoes, but let's just
It's
listen,
all right,
not
okay.
them as a person.
Right.
I'm not judging them as a person, but I will look at their shoes, and if they have bad shoes on, I think, okay, from head to toe, they're going to be not fashion forward. They're going to be not.
This guy's a pedophile.
No, but you know what I mean? But again, I'm not going to judge you for your personality that way, but I will judge their entire fashion sense based on their shoes.
So, and is fashion very important to you in your judge, or it just
No, that's what I said. I'm not going
you?
to judge them.
Right.
It just informs me of. I think so. Anyway, I don't know. Is that actually true? I don't know. But like, if I see a bad
All right.
shoe, I'm like,
Okay.
All right. So then, therefore, let me try and summarize this. If they're wearing, like a Halston outfit, or
Right.
something really, really super stylish, but they got crap shoes, you will judge the whole thing
I'll
upon
say
those
they
shoes.
ruined the outfit by their
Okay,
shoe.
there you go.
All right.
That's
All right.
Okay, I got you.
Listen, she
I
knows
see
what she
you're saying.
likes. That's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So, by the way, the walking around the store with the phone thing, I totally judge those people, Kathy. I can't stand them. I'm like, to me, that is rude. But here's the weird thing. I don't necessarily know why I think it's rude. It's, why would I care if it was another person talking out loud to them? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In other words, if you're walking
the
behind
person
two
was
people
in
who were talking to each
That's
other,
a good
That wouldn't
point.
bother me.
during the conversation, it wouldn't bother you.
But
But
that
the phone
bothers
does.
me.
It
There's
does.
and I agree. There's something
I agree.
about
I
it
know.
that's like that should be a private interaction. because if I don't know, it just cuts through. The sound is a little more piercing.
What I don't like is casual conversation. If someone is working on something and they need to use their hands, or they're at a store and hey, I want you to talk to this person too, or if they're using
FaceTime
video FaceTime,
yeah, is this the bread you want?
then you need to see that type of thing.
Right.
I'm okay with it then, but I immediately judge. I'm thinking you are really rude. You're rude
I
by doing
agree.
this.
They have it
You're
on
a
FaceTime and
rude
they're going, "Hey, look at this pedophile's shoes."
Yeah.
individual.
Stop.
You know what I have zero problems judging people on is when you are at a convenience store and you're in line and they open another register and then the register attendant says, I'll take the next person in line, and the person in the back of the line goes.
Yep.
Don't like it.
I
don't like it.
automatically judge that person.
I
do
hate those
too.
people.
I will actually. I become a line coordinator at that
Yeah,
point.
sure. Hey,
and-
they
and
just said they're open over
I
here.
will tap the person if they're in front of me. That they're next.
I always say out loud, I go, "Oh, they didn't see last person in line. They said next person in line."
Yeah.
There are a lot of
People
texts,
don't care, though.
A lot of texts coming in saying people who litter and people who treat servers poorly.
Yeah, littering was the first one on this list.
Okay.
And I'm the same way. You know, if I see somebody flick a cigarette butt out their window, you're immediately a dick to me.
Yeah.
And I'm a former smoker.
Yeah.
And I would not do that. I would flick the cherry off and then set it somewhere in the car and go throw it away. It's ridiculous to do that.
I don't like it.
People who are rude to servers, in my opinion, should be taken off of this earth. I just
You mean like
don't
actually?
get
You
it.
say they should be exterminated? You would put them in your pedophile camp
with
poor-
bad shoes.
Bad shoes. I think it is. I think the way you treat people who are in the service industry is an incredible indication of what you are. Preston, you had like a former producer of the show. Your perception. And I remember you were recounting this story, and I would have felt the same way.
Yep.
Who just got rude on someone's ass for no reason, and you're like, why? Because that it puffs you up. It makes them feel better. And I can't stand that. I
Listen,
can't stand people who get off on that.
I have no problem having words with anybody who, in any type of industry that's rude to me or, whatever it might be. But the people who talk to a server as if they should be running to go get your stuff or whatever it is, treat them with some respect. I just can't.
Dignity.
I've been in so many instances and people close to me where I'm like, I'm embarrassed by you and the way you're treating this server right now.
Oh, yeah. All right, we got a load of really good calls here, and I've only mentioned one on this list. So let's go to them. I'm going to go to Rachel. Hi, Rachel. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, you guys.
Hey, so Rachel, we're talking about things that what do you instantly judge someone for?
Okay, you know how in the summer people put their sandals on when the sandals are too small and their heel hangs over the back.
Oh God, Rachel, I'm with you. Rachel, I want to say to those people, get the bigger size. Don't try to squeeze your foot
it's
into a
never
size
crossed
6.5.
my mind
That's not your size shoe.
To even
Oh my
look.
God, it's like Cinderella, the ugly stepsisters when they tried to stuff their foot into the glass slipper.
Look at these pedophiles.
Rachel, what about it also bothers me if the shoe is too big and the toes don't reach the top of the heel or the shoe or whatever it is.
So I've seen this, Rachel. So you think a lot of times when you'll see the back of the foot extending over the shoe that they just simply bought a smaller size?
Yeah,
they're bad people.
Really? They're bad people.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and not only that, but then their heel touches the filthy ground. And I know what's on the filthy ground. There's poop and pee and
Right,
cigarettes
poop and pee. You saw that documentary, The Blight of America. Poop and pee is on the ground.
I think Rachel might be my sister.
I think she is. Thank you, Rachel. Appreciate it.
Poop and pee. Where are you walking?
I walk around barefoot sometimes. What a barbarian.
Well, I had said something.
Preston's a pedophile.
I had said something
knew it.
similar years and years ago because those stupid flip-flops that have bottle openers on the bottom of them, I'm like, that is so dumb because what you step on is ridiculous. And I had said vomit, right? And Nick, he goes, vomit? Like, seriously? And then that weekend, Nick saw somebody throwing up outside. He's like,
so
okay.
nasty.
I'm sorry. I'm not aware of this. There are bottle openers.
Yes, like these reef flip-flops.
It's almost like a gimmick, but people actually end up using them. And
they're on the sole of the shoe.
Yes.
Who the hell would do that?
If you need it in a pinch.
Exactly.
That's like putting a fork on the bottom of your shoe.
Like people would wear them to like Buffett shows and stuff like that. And so it's kind of like a funny summer gimmick, but then they actually would use them at concerts and ball games.
Jesus,
I know.
there's no way.
I know.
Let me go to Josh. Hey, Josh. Good morning.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. What's up, Josh?
All right, so what happens to me when I work in a grocery store.
Yep.
When I see customers specifically come in and use the restroom and not wash their hands.
So you will judge them immediately for that.
I do as well, and it's funny when COVID became the thing. Obviously, Josh, and we were all dealing with it. The notion that people had to be told to wash their hands in the bathroom
was unbelievable.
Like, what? This is news.
It was a thing beforehand, but it was more at the back of my mind. And after COVID, it came to the front, and people's behaviors didn't really change that much.
Yeah, well, it's kind of weird. You know what? I could see if perhaps you go in and you can go to the latrine and hands free get everything done. But if you come out of the stall and you've been working a real mudslide, you better wash those hands.
You guys know I don't always wash my hands if I've peed and I haven't got anything on my hands, and I don't necessarily wash it. I know Kathy loves
I don't like
that,
to be
right?
reminded of this. I judge you every day.
I know all these diseases you've
However,
picked up from me over the years.
When you do that, you bring a charcuterie board into the bathroom.
Of course.
And allow everyone to taste.
I need to share the love. I'm going to go to Tina. Hi, Tina. Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Hey, what's up, Tina?
So, you double dippers and you poor tippers.
Double dippers and poor tippers. That's who you judge people. Those are the people you judge. Okay.
I mean, you're double dipping. I don't know what makes you think that I need any of your germs.
Okay.
Before COVID too. It's
I don't think I can't remember the last time I saw someone actually double dip.
You know who I see, and mostly, and I'm sure Tina, you'd agree with this. A lot of times it'll be a kid that doesn't get the whole thing. I would be aghast at this point if an adult double dipped something in front of me.
I saw an adult do it not that long ago.
Really?
I said something. I said, "Did you just bite that chip and then put it back in?" And he was like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Okay."
Pedophile.
Who was this person in relation to you? Was it somebody you know?
Yes, it was somebody I know.
Yeah,
well,
if it was somebody I knew well, I would definitely say something to them.
But my disgusted face said it all, and then he didn't do it again.
Tina, what else?
Well, I have someone in my family. They are the epitome of the double dipper. And now when we have family gatherings, there's actually like a little thing out on the table, like 3 or 4 of them. If there's, like a snack or something like that, and even on the table it says no double dipping. So
good.
One day,
Yeah. Put the sign down.
The dude says, "Oh, look at this, no double dipping," and he goes, "I wonder who's doing that," and I'm like, "It's you."
All right.
And then we all sat down at dinner, and he did it anyway.
That's when you have to knife him in the back.
All right, thanks, Tina. I'm gonna go through a few texts here, and then we'll get some more calls because people are definitely on top of this. But here you go. It says people who don't return carts are awful people.
I do. I return my carts.
Yeah, I do too. People that stop at yellow lights, they judge them.
No.
This one says people who do not walk faster when going through a crosswalk need to be shot.
Who's this?
Or don't wave when you let them in traffic, it says.
Yes.
Those
I know what he's talking about.
Non-waivers.
There are people, I believe, who actively slow down when they're walking, almost in defiance of you. I always speed up as I'm crossing the crosswalk, even though I have as a pedestrian the right of way. I want to help the flow of traffic. We can all get along and help each other out. I see people become the glacial in the way they're crossing, and I want to run them over.
Come on, Steve. I do the same thing. Like I will make it known that I'm rushing, and
To
thank
help
you
them.
for
Yes,
letting
thank
me
you.
go.
Here's I like this one. It says the people I judge most are the ones who pull up to McDonald's drive-through and then have no idea what they
Like, come on.
Like you don't know at
Spin
this
around.
point what's on the menu?
I swear to God.
Like Preston's wife?
Yeah.
Don't even.
Like my children. Like every single one of my children. And I will say before, I'm like, listen, we're going to be in there. Figure out what you want now, right? Like before we even pull in, know what you want because it's.
I'll do it at a restaurant, Casey, when you have people, and I'll say I'm the guy early in the conversation saying, "Everyone, make sure you know what you want. Everyone, make sure you know what you want." And there are always people who still like, "Do you have? You just had the menu in front of your face."
But as far as driving is concerned, I will judge people who do not turn on red when there is no sign that says no turn on red. I will. If I'm sitting there behind you,
I think it's a little overly cautious.
And what judgment are you making on them?
They're pedophiles.
Yes, they're pedophiles.
that maybe they're
That
too
they
afraid
shouldn't
to do
have
it?
a
Too
license.
cautious.
That
Okay.
you
All right.
should
Live
not
life
have,
on the edge.
I wasn't sure because
Yeah.
I don't see that person as being being a dick. I don't
Yeah.
see them being
No.
a jerk. I think they're being kind of dumb.
Yeah. No, that's a good
Although,
call.
oh,
There's
you're
a difference
probably old,
personally.
right?
No, I think you just
Here you go.
delineated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here's the difference is because I saw a text as well. Here's somebody who I will immediately judge and I will
Right.
determine them to be a dick to the nth degree. Someone who drives on the shoulder when you're in traffic.
Dick.
Yep.
When,
Complete
when
dick.
everybody's in this together,
Right.
Mhm.
No one's.
you decide I'm not doing this.
Do you know what I do? Okay, so I will counter the dick move when I see somebody doing that, Preston.
Yeah.
And like if you're coming down 76 and you're going to get off on the Kelly Drive exit, there is a long. People do it all the time. It drives me crazy, especially since we're all stuck in traffic. I will move my car over a little bit to block them from passing.
Yeah.
I become Captain America.
Let me go. This one sounds kind of interesting. I'm going to go to Sean. Hey, Sean, you're on the air. Good morning. We're talking about things that you instantly judge someone for.
Chicken bop, chicken bop, chicken bop.
Thank you for singing. What's up, Sean?
We love you, Sean.
Luckily, I don't have to deal with this anymore because, I don't choose to hang with these types of people anymore. But the friend that you may or may not have that will constantly come to you with advice on their troubled relationship or marriage, and you give them the advice, but then they go back and they repeat the same old behavior over and over again.
That is a general overarching thing. I agree with you on that. I've just learned over time that when it comes to advice, to not give advice. When it comes to relationships, because you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. No matter how it works out, you'll be held as the culprit.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And my sister is going through this right now with a friend, and I swear she's been doing this with her friend for 2 years, where she'll take 3 hours out of her day to listen to her friend's same old problems. And she called me yesterday to say, hey, I won't be able to hang out today because my friend's calling me. I'm like, you've been doing this for 2 years.
Yeah.
Stop.
And so
Why are you so
I know
friends with
this routine. She should leave the guy, right? And she's not going to. Is that what it is?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
I know that one
Her
well.
quality of life would drastically improve if she just left the person.
What you need to do, Sean, is follow what a therapist would do. Well, how do you feel about this? What are you prepared to do? Because then they're the ones providing the answers and the guidance. So it's their thing, and you're screwed no matter what you do. So yeah, it's best to disconnect from people like that.
Yep.
100%.
All right. Thanks, man. I know what you're talking about. Which line did you want me to go to, Casey?
I like 7.
Okay. Let's go to Bridget. Hey, Bridget, good morning.
Good morning, Gadzooks, guys.
Gadzooks. All right, Bridget. So something you immediately judge someone for.
So when people have an entire full cart of groceries and go into the wine and beer lane and take up time for everyone else that's in there is getting a bottle of wine because they can't get their bottle or their six-pack before they go grocery shopping and make it easier for the rest of us.
It is a cheap a trick that's done, and a lot of people, it's the big thing. Okay, the checkout's going to move faster in that part of the store, and so they do that. And I agree 1,000%.
Sometimes you can buy it in the alcohol section.
Yeah.
You can make that transaction elsewhere separate from all of
They
the
have
other.
a separate register.
Yeah, exactly. So
Not at the Acme.
do it there.
Not at the Acme.
All right. Thank you, Bridget. Appreciate it.
I need to get to drinking.
By the way, this text says, I instantly judge someone for putting their big, fat, effing fingers and sticking them back into the bowl.
For 15 straight minutes, I've been watching you putting your big, fat fingers into your disgusting mouth, which is filled with God knows what kind of bacteria. And then you take the same big, fat, filthy fingers and you stuff them back into the bowl that is there for public consumption. What the are you thinking, John?
Well, I wasn't thinking, Jimmy. I'm sorry.
Just don't do it again.
Well, I wasn't thinking, Jimmy. I'm sorry.
I had a friend, this had to have been 20 years ago or so. He saw me licking my fingers, and he was like, "Dude, don't do that. Like, don't lick your fingers." And
Let me do that.
He goes, "No." He's like, "Girls will see that, and they automatically like that."
Oh
It's
my
a
God!
turn
Yes,
off. Yeah.
I find it disgusting. Yeah.
But you still lick your fingers.
I still like my fingers. Yeah, I don't care.
You mean you were eating, right?
Yeah,
you were just sitting
I'm
there
not just
licking
sitting
your
there in
fingers. Just gonna lick 'em for a while.
My fingers taste good.
Finger licking good.
Do you want your string back? You want to play with your string?
I'm going to go to David now. Dave is disabled and has something he absolutely judges people for. Dave, good morning.
Gadzooks, guys.
Gadzooks to you, Dave. All right, what type of disability do you have, Dave?
I am a below-the-knee amputee.
Okay.
And when I go shopping, I use one of those cards, the mobility cards, because these stores are huge and it's impossible to just walk the whole store.
Right.
I judge people who actually are able to walk into the store, get the mobility card, use it in the store, and then they just leave it by their car.
Yeah. That's not cool.
Yes.
That's stupid.
That's like parking in a handicap spot. It's not kosher.
Or when they're not handicapped and they're just using it because they need to have fun on a Saturday night.
Yeah.
This is their idea of fun.
We're just NASCAR fans.
Maybe we should have some sympathy, Dave, for people who need fun on a Saturday night to go and ride their mobility cart around the grocery store.
Going over to the supermarket to ride a mobility cart.
All right, Dave. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
You know what? I judge people when I'm bowling, Steve, and I have already established that I am up and I am ready to bowl.
Yeah.
There's bowling etiquette. Once you're up there and you are in the position to start bowling, and then people will walk up and bowl, it's like, no, you got to wait your turn, man.
I agree. There's just sort of an unspoken rule, right? That
But
you don't want to throw off the person who's actively in the
if you're in the lane next to them, you have to wait, right? But if there is a lane that separates you, a full lane, then have at it.
And
you don't. I'll let kids slide on that.
Yes,
because they may not know.
Right.
They may not
But
know
parents
the
need to
etiquette.
say something.
Yes, they do.
Will you let the person in the other lane, Preston, crash cymbals together when you're bowling?
Yes,
it's
of course.
distracting, right?
Yeah. Let me read a couple more of these. We'll go to some more calls, but some of these on this list. It was from a Reddit thread. What do you instantly judge someone for? Someone said snapping their fingers at people. I guess to get their attention.
I saw a douchebag do that.
I did. I get yelled at for that.
But you didn't know, and now you don't whistle at people.
I'm not going to. Yeah, I'm not calling them like a dog to me.
It was at a funeral, and you couldn't hear the.
Here's one that says standing in the middle of aisles or doors, etc., and not paying attention to anyone else coming or needing to get through. Extra bonus scorn if you actually take a tone or give a dirty look when someone dares to say, "Excuse me."
You know where the aisle standers are the worst are the airport. If you are in the middle of the aisle walking down the terminal in either direction, don't stop. There are people behind you.
Oh, yeah.
If you're going to stop, shift to the side.
Yeah. You're just completely unaware of everything around you. That drives me crazy. And again, if you're going, you stay on the right side.
Yes.
And that's how it goes.
It's etiquette, man.
How about this one? When the first thing they do when they meet me is bad talk others, this person said. Probably to make me think that they're great and it's other people that are the problem. Yeah, I've had that before.
Me too.
Where somebody you don't even know
Starts
and they start
attacking
bad
someone.
talking people. I'm like, what is your deal, man?
I heard a woman complaining about her female friends, so that when she got together, the first thing they would do would be attack their own boyfriends and husbands.
Like immediately.
Exactly.
Yeah, we Casey and I knew somebody who used to do that. It was the other way around. It was the guy. Like immediately, even with like people he was, maybe had just met, immediately start complaining about his wife. And you're like,
that says so much more about the person complaining. That's loathsome.
I like this one. This is a little more, a little less obvious. It's it's something that they judge on an appearance. Hi, Jason. You're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, Jason. So, how do you judge people instantly?
License plates.
License plates. Okay.
Yes. If I'm driving down the road and I see either a southern license plate or a northern license plate, depending on what area of the world I'm in, those people don't know how to drive there.
Okay.
You're an idiot, and you need to get off the road.
All right, so
They're
it says here-
outworlders.
It says on my monitor here, Jason, and I want you to expand on this a little bit. It says, from the north, can't drive. From the south, are stupid.
Okay, I live in the South. I spent many, many years in the military. I've been all around the world.
Yeah.
About a couple of weeks ago, I drove down to Florida, and this person obviously was not in a rental car, had New York license plate tags,
Okay.
and was determined to stay in the left-hand lane, driving 45 in a 60-mile-an-hour zone.
No.
And it's like, get out of the way. You don't know how to drive. Go away. We don't drive like that down here.
Yeah.
All right. So, and how would you say Southern drivers are?
Southern drivers, there's too many handicapped people or old people, and they drive 20 miles an hour below the speed limit.
Okay. Yeah, I
You
remember.
got an issue with slow drivers.
Slow drivers
in general.
like around Boca Raton, you would have that.
Jason, where do you reside?
I live just south of Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So he's in the thick of it.
Just out of curiosity, why do you listen to the show? Are you a podcaster? Are you a streamer? How'd you find us?
Actually, I stream. I lived in Delaware, New Jersey for like 7 years. I retired from the military from New Jersey and moved back home. So I've been listening to y'all for probably about 15 years.
Wow, man, that's awesome.
Thank you.
So I stream y'all every day.
Thank you. That's awesome.
Appreciate
and I have been and I did enjoy y'all's Camp Out for Hunger and the YouTube.
Oh,
that was awesome.
Excellent. Well, thanks,
And
Jason.
congratulations for
Thank
your
you.
Hall of Fame.
Awesome.
All right, y'all have a beautiful day.
You too, man. Appreciate you checking in. I will do the license plate
Yeah,
thing too.
me too.
If I see the plate before I've even seen him drive,
Yeah.
you know, I'll make some sort of a quick assessment. Oh, well, I can expect this out of that person.
Yep.
Well, you
Name
know,
tags.
we've talked about making the assessment on what they're driving a lot of times.
Yeah.
Sure.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
And you know.
You're
yeah.
right. You're right. Here are a couple more examples of when people instantly judge others. This one says, when you make your political stance your entire personality.
Oh, my God, I hate that.
Absolutely. Another one says, chewing with your mouth open. I like this one. People that say they have OCD when in reality they don't. I don't necessarily judge people for that, but when somebody says they're OCD, more often than not, they're not.
Right.
You
It's
know,
like
they're just saying I have a quirkiness about me and I'm very clean or whatever it may be. You know
all
what I
the
mean?
people who ask for gluten-free that don't really need it to be gluten-free, you know, all of these restrictions, they hop on trendy restrictions.
Yep. Here's another one. Says, I judge people for displaying the Confederate flag. Absolutely.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. I'm hardcore. As soon as I see that, I have quite a clear thought about that person. Another one, not using your turn signal. A lot of these road-related ones, we get them all the time.
Yeah.
You know, people are definitely passionate about drivers. Let's see. How about anyone who is quick to anger and quick to resort to violence? Well, yeah.
Yeah,
clearly.
I don't suffer psychotics.
Right. The second somebody tries using something like astrology to explain away their crappy behavior.
If you're reaching to astrology for excuses, any attempt to excuse crappy behavior is someone I'm going to have an issue with.
Let's see. We only got time for. All right, how about this one? Let me go to Mike. Hey, Mike. Good morning.
Morning, Gadzooks.
Good morning, Mike. All right, so you immediately judge someone for
Pulling up to the Wawa gas pumps, fueling up, and then going inside for a half hour.
So I understand what you're saying, and so like if I go to whether it be the Wawa or Sunoco or whatever, and they have the mini mart there, I will get the gas and then I pull into a spot to open up that pump.
I immediately judge them and think they're the biggest pedophiles.
Oh my God! Nice.
And you're right.
Nice.
They are pedophiles.
I will do a judgment call.
Yeah.
If
you
it's
have to.
if there's nobody, if there's 10 pumps that are open,
agreed.
I'm gonna
That's
pop
fine.
in to grab my grapes, cheese, and cracker thing they have or something real quick.
But you're not going to go in and put together a catering thing.
And I'm definitely not. If I see like there's only one or two open slots or three maybe, then forget it. I will pull ahead and find myself a spot because I don't want to be that guy.
Right. I mean, if it's empty, you can go in.
Yeah. Listen, we're not supposed to judge. You know, you shouldn't immediately judge people, but we're human beings for crying out loud.
And part of our thing is to make sure we're bringing these pedophiles out into the light.
That's part of what we need to do as a responsibility.
Every time
humankind.
someone does something you don't agree with, they are a pedophile.
And so Ted Lasso says curiosity over judgment. So when I see somebody doing something that I don't agree with, I'm just curious as to why they're such an a-hole.
Okay.
You know?
Be curious, not judgmental.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyhow, thanks for your calls. We appreciate that and all your texts that came in. We do need to take a break because I collected some stories that I think you might want to hear about in the form of the bizarre file, which we will get to next. Stay with us.
And then I go, can she bring someone? He goes, yeah, probably for safety. And then he caught himself and he goes, maybe that's not the message we want to send out.
You're going to need protection.
Laughing at the idea that we were pitching that she should bring safety to a meeting with us, and we laughed probably for 10 minutes. Literally just laughed for 10 minutes. And then one night, I'm getting ready to, I get done working out. I'm at the new house. I'm getting ready to have a cocktail, and Segura calls me and he goes, have you checked your DMs? And I was like, wait, what? And he goes, check your DMs. I checked my DMs and I got a DM from Jennifer Aniston.
Wow.
And we lost it. I mean, it was like you guys are the funniest guys. And then we're like, do not let her watch any of the Reese Witherspoon stuff we've done. I don't think she'll think we're funny anymore.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. Wow.
It was crazy.
So going back to the movie for a second, Bert, Mark Hamill's the only name that's been announced associated with this. Is there, can we leak a little information here on the Preston and Steve Show? Anybody else that we might know is involved in the project?
I don't know. I don't know how to say their names.
Are you using a lot of local actors or actors from Europe that we might not be familiar with?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're using a lot of them. The guy playing Igor is awesome. I mean, if I send you his video, I'll send you his video.
Yeah.
If I can get it today, I'll send it to you, and you will fall in love with this dude the second he says the machine. That's my favorite casting probably that I've seen. Actually, everyone's great. The girl. I don't know who I can say, but by the way, I can't even say any of their names. So.
Yeah. No, it's so cool.
I would love to see like Boban. How do you say his last name? Basketball player, 7'5".
He's in John Wick 3, Parabellum. Yeah.
That guy would be great. I don't know. But anyway, that's not what I wanted to ask you. So you do Two Bears in One Cave. You're also doing this podcast with Bill Burr. We're actually going to have Bill Burr on the show tomorrow. So why do you giggle like that?
I bet that guy makes me giggle. Has he ever told you about the time he was at the Sistine Chapel?
No.
Should we ask him about it?
Or is he going to get mad?
No. He's like, I'm such a moron, Bert. He goes, I'm at the Sistine Chapel with my wife, and we're looking up, and I'm thinking, this is great. You know what? If someone was smart, they'd open a bar right outside here and call it the 17th Chapel.
17th? The 16th Chapel.
That's fantastic. We giggled so hard. We did a podcast with Stanhope.
That's great.
And all we did was talk about day drinking, best day drinking scenarios. And Bill hasn't drank in like 2 years. Yeah. And I swear to God, all of us almost fell off the wagon.
By the way, here's a connection. You're going to be related to Mark Hamill in The Machine, and Bill Burr's on The Mandalorian. You're all now living in the Star Wars universe to some extent. That's pretty wild.
Yeah, what's interesting is I got an offer to be on The Mandalorian like 2 months ago. They hit me up. They sent me with this role, and they're like, "Hey, you interested?" And I was just like, "I'll pass." What? And my daughter lost it. They're like, "Why? What are you doing?" And I was like, "Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't really." Not really like I don't watch The Mandalorian. Like I tried to watch it, I couldn't get into it.
Right.
And my daughters lost it. They lost it.
It's a great show. It's so freaking good. Yeah.
Yeah. And so then when we got Mark Hamill to play my dad, I went. I think I'm still a Jedi, guys. Like it runs in the family.
Bill's whole thing is he's always made fun of the Star Wars universe. He's always, and here he is, and he jokes, he talks about, you're friends with him, and here he is square in the middle, and now he's having to sort of sheepishly say, okay, I kind of get it now,
Oh yeah, wait, that's a great one. Ask him to tell you about all the stuff going on in season 1. say, hey, Bill, the seasons you did, tell us about the story.
Oh, he has no idea.
He hasn't watched any of them.
All right, yeah, we'll get him on that.
Bert, it was years ago. We had done this live broadcast. Basically, it was from like a trash company, right? So it's a place. They won an opportunity. They did a charity drive, and they won an opportunity for us to broadcast live. And Bill Burr came out, and we actually flew him out to this live broadcast in a helicopter. I don't know if he's going to remember that, but it was so funny because that was like the first taste of the real Bill Burr that I got, because we wanted to play. We played this game called Crack Shot, right? And Crack Shot is listeners call up, give us trivia questions. If we get it wrong, we get shot with a BB gun. And so we wanted him to be the shooter, and he's like, "No, I'm not doing it." No, I don't want to do it. He's like, yeah. I was like, oh my God. I'm like, this. I think we just offended Bill Burr. Like, this is like shooting people with a BB gun is beneath him. He's like, nah, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, we weren't shooting him.
No, he was going to shoot us. Yeah.
But still, he didn't like it, so that was fine. Yeah, it apparently didn't hurt his career, so he's doing fine. Yeah. So how long will the shoot be taking place for the machine, Bert?
3 months.
3 months. Okay, wow.
Is your family coming out at all?
My wife is. Yeah. She comes out in like 2 weeks, and then I wanted the girls to come out, but everything's still kind of weird with COVID.
Yeah.
I wanted to go through Europe with them. I was like, we're never gonna get this opportunity again.
Did she get the Gulfstream 550 treatment too, or will she be flying? You're laughing.
Lufthansa.
Lufthansa.
Yeah, there you go,
Coach. Take the Lufa, honey.
Should be flying standby. If you think about this, Bert, listen, this has been a traumatic, horrible year for the planet as far as, all the stuff that's been going on. But you have been on a career high.
Yeah.
You have been on fire. It started with your Netflix special, the Go Big show, the Cabin show. Every time you turn around, you got something out. Now you're in production on the machine. Have you had time to pause and process how things are going? In light of all that's not going right, you are the one shining beacon.
I had a great 2020. I don't know what everyone was
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Harvard Medical School actually called you to give a talk on how to properly set a bone in somebody's arm based on what you did for Tom Segura.
Yeah, Tom blew out his knee and broke his arm. I had a great game that day. I don't know what he's talking about.
Casey references all the time and just starts cracking up at you going over.
Just because you didn't like the way his arm looked, you're like, you shouldn't do your arm shouldn't be like that. Let me do that. And then you gave him a little tap, on the, hey, good job, buddy. Dude, sometimes I just think about it and I laugh. That was so funny.
Yeah, I did a tour. I did 4 tours. I did the vet. I had a fun 2020, man. Everyone's complaining about it.
It seems like 10 years ago that we were in the parking lot and you were doing the show. And but here we are. Yeah, but at least the general consensus and feeling is that we're moving out of this, which is good.
The last thing that we did as a show collectively with listeners involved Bert at the Cardboard Classic.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a little more than a year ago at this point, but Bert was there for that, and then the crap at the fan, man.
Yeah.
Everything stopped.
And then the Buccaneers won the Super Bowl. That's your team.
This has been a really great year, man. Things are looking up and up.
Wow. All right. Well, listen, man, it's exciting news, and this whole thing with Mark Hamill it's just the coolest. So
it's unbelievable.
We'll hope that that filming goes well and everything runs its course, and hopefully we'll be talking to you soon, man. But we appreciate you checking in all the way from Serbia this morning.
Well, thank you, guys. I love you guys. I really do. Thank
Likewise.
You very much.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right.
Talk
We
to
love
guys
you.
later.
Bert Kreischer, guys. Thanks, man. Take care, bud.
That's awesome.
All right. So,
Jesus.
wow.
So cool.
He's living the life, dude.
Now,
He's living the life. And I hadn't thought about that until you pointed that out, Steve.
Yeah.
That the world has gone to hell and Bert Kreischer's is just on top of everything.
The pinnacle of his career.
Well, good for him. Hard to take an instrument
that's been around for so long
and give it a new sound, and that's what I think our next guest has done. And he comes loaded with accolades and is well vetted,
just a bit,
in the world of jazz music. And I know that us being a rock station may not be familiar with him, which is why we want to have him on this morning. Turning on to something, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Antonio Sanchez.
Yeah.
is here this morning. How are you, man?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Nice to meet you. My pleasure. It's wild. I'm nervous talking to you because we have two drum kits set up in here, and by the way, it's their idea that you and I play together, and we've done it a few times. We've had some pretty big names in the world of drums here. I've played against or with Mike Portnoy.
I like that.
Mike Portnoy, Questlove have done it, and but I'm
not
more intimidated in sitting down playing with you than either of those guys.
No, don't worry. I'll go really easy.
No, don't worry about it. I don't want to have a battle.
It's not a drum off. It's a jam.
You, like me, I remember it was actually the look of drums themselves that first got my interest. I was like, what is that stuff? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and it just
gorgeous.
seemed, it seemed so cool to me. Now it's a royal pain in the ass because you got to lug that crap around and put it together. As Antonio was getting set up, I'm like, one of the burdens of being a drummer is having to set up the drum kit. You have people that do that for you now, I would imagine.
On occasion.
On occasion. But yeah, so you learned from the world of rock. So you came up with that music, and then at some point, jazz had to have caught your ear.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, basically, I was into Copeland, Neil Peart, John Bonham.
We've talked about this, Preston, that there's this impenetrable jazz wall that people they have a perception about it. And I love fusion jazz. I love Pat Metheny. I love and I love John Coltrane, and I love all the different. To talk about that improvisational thing, and people say, "Oh, it's too complex. I don't understand it." But I think in many ways it taps into that the artist expressing themselves in a way that. I think it can connect with you in a way that's maybe more profound than a lot of people think. Do you know what I'm saying? Because there seems to be this, a lot of people perceive it as, it's not my thing. But I think on a visceral level, you might find that it's a little bit more intense.
Well, the thing is, I hate when jazz is too brainy.
Yeah.
And when there's no really a story telling, when jazz doesn't really tells a story, it becomes really boring, and it just becomes about people just kind of showing off.
When you listen to fusion jazz and really intense, super duper fast swing and bebop and stuff like that the average ear. Some of it, like, we don't know where you are. I don't know time-wise where you guys are, but you guys all do. And I find that fascinating. When I get lost in a song, and by that meaning I don't know where 1, 2, 3, 4 is, and all of a sudden you guys come back together and bang, you're right on top of it. It fascinates me as a percussionist. I'm like, how the hell did they do that?
It's so cool. I think anyone can appreciate that.
But you can see how daunting that is to people who don't understand what you guys are doing, because it can sound like noise.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
But that's one of my main missions. And, Steve, you mentioned Pat Metheny. I've been playing with him for 18 years. So, one of the things I learned from him is to try to make things accessible. You don't have to be complicated for the sake of being complicated. And it's a lot about lyricism, about melody, and about communicating something to the audience. If you're overly complicated just for the fact, just for the sake of complication, then you lose me as well.
A couple of drummer questions for you, going back to Stuart Copeland for a moment. One of the things Antonio does that caught my eye and ear is that he uses all of the voices of the drum kit that are available, and ones that you may not have heard before. And I'm talking about hitting the rims, hitting the shells, playing with your fingers, hands, and so on and so forth, and incorporating all that stuff. And going back to Stuart Copeland, is your affinity for rim knocks, does some of that come back from listening to Stuart growing up?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. He was the man for that. And then when I started playing Latin jazz, there's tons of that.
Okay. How about using, because the first thing that I found really, really interesting about, I just pulled up and it just said on YouTube, Antonio Sanchez drum solo. And I watched you, and you're playing along without setting the sticks down. You're also holding on the sticks and playing with your fingers on the snare drum and here and there. And it sounds like more than one drummer is playing at the same time, which I found really interesting. Is that a technique you just kind of stumbled across and decided to expand on, or did you get some influence from that?
Well, I studied quite a bit of percussion when I was at Berkeley as well, like congas and bongos and stuff like that, instruments that you play with your hands. And I just started incorporating it little by little as I was holding the sticks. And a lot of things as well I stumbled upon.
So this week or last week, even when I knew you were coming in, I'm like, well, I better practice because I'm going to play with Antonio Sanchez. And I sat down to play a couple times, and I was just like, this is a waste of time. I'm just going to wait till he comes in here, and I will just do what I can.
He was in here early, by the way, before the show, banging away and trying to get up to speed. But, but it is what it is. It's all good.
But when someone is when you were really into it, how much were you practicing a day? It had to have been a lot.
I was never the kind of guy that would practice like 7 hours, 8 hours a day. I saw a lot of those people at Berkeley, and I was like, oh, man, I should practice more. And then I realized that I was playing way better than a lot of those guys because I thought, I was practicing in a smarter way.
Okay.
I was working on my weaknesses way more than my strengths.
Right.
And I would do like 3 hours a day, 4 hours a day.
What would you say to people who, because I tried really, really hard. I hunkered down, I practiced, I worked on it for hours at a time. But there is a thing as natural ability versus effort.
Yeah.
And you can work as hard as you can, but sometimes, listen, otherwise everybody would be hitting a home run every single time out of the park if they could do it.
Right.
There's some people that have more of an ability. If you find yourself plateauing technique-wise, ability-wise, and it frustrates you, is there anything that you would give as advice to people as to, Ladies and gentlemen, Casey has a shard out.
Okay, so this is a congratulatory shard out. On Saturday, you guys remember how the weather was a little bit weird and wonky on Saturday?
It were.
The morning was really nice, and the late afternoon was nice and sunny. Well, so for that hour and a half of terrible weather, the St. Pius and St. Anastasia boys, 7th and 8th grade football team played a football game. And they won. They won the championship. And I wanted to send my congratulations out to the entire team, all the parents, the family, the coaching staff. So the head coach of the team, his name's Brett Walski. And I've known Brett since I was in kindergarten. And so his son, Brett Walski as well, had just a dynamic, amazing game. Brett had a couple of touchdowns. And these guys, the weather was absolutely horrible. It was terrible. And they battled through it all. And congratulations. They worked hard all season long, and they won the championship. So congratulations. And I will always say St. Pius first, but it is St. Anastasius and St. Pius, a combined team. And so congratulations to you guys.
Nice. All right, now I'll add another shout out real quick. It says, hey, guys, this is from our friend Harry Wood.
Who
emails in from time to time. He wanted to shout out for his boss, Chef Ray Frankowitz, and his lovely wife, Emily, on the recent marriage a few weeks ago. Working and learning the ropes of running a kitchen under Ray has been not only inspiring, but has helped me stay focused on my career path and making sure every day of service at UPenn's campus goes smoothly. So a shout out there. And then one last one that says, hey, guys, wondering if you could do a juicy shout out for my nephew, Bobby. He listens to the show on the podcast when he can, but most recently he became a Drexel Dragon and is on their esports team.
Yeah.
Whereas most kids spent time playing physical sports, he actually played baseball for a number of years, but he wrecked kids in Call of Duty, Fortnite, and Rainbow Six growing up. He is studying to become an engineer, but took up esports because he wanted to elevate his gaming abilities. And he says, thanks for all you do, Uncle Sean. So that is for Bobby. He's a fresh Drexel Dragon, so congratulations. All right, Bizarre File.
Yeah.
We're ready to do it now.
WMMR presents Preston and Steve's Bizarre File.
All right, brought to you this morning by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app. You can download the DraftKings app and use the code ROCK to get in on the action. Well, I could have either put this in music news or the Bizarre File. I went with the Bizarre File. A rock band's lead singer got a little too hardcore during a live show, pulling down her pants and then taking a leak on a guy's face who seemed to be all about it.
Yeah,
This
there's
incident
clear footage of it.
Went down Thursday night during the Welcome to Rockville Festival at the Daytona International Speedway, where Brass Against performed to a ton of fanfare and eventually to a ton of grossed-out spectators who watched this scene. Frontwoman Sophia Orista was rocking out during their set and performing a cover of Rage Against the Machine's Wake Up, when she and the band apparently invited a guy in the front row to come up on and receive a golden shower, to which he happily obliged. It's unclear exactly if he knew what he was in for, but he seemed more than willing to lie down on stage with a can mounted on his forehead.
Oh, my God.
And let Arista do her thing, and she indeed did her thing. We're watching video of this right now of her pulling her pants down and pulling her panties down as well. And, dude, she lets it go. I don't know how she didn't get the
pee shy.
Oh, my God. But she full on.
What the hell?
We're watching this right now as we speak. I mean, a lot, dude.
Oh, my God.
So, apparently, it was captured in graphic detail from folks who were no more than 15 or 20 feet away. She unbuttoned her pants, did her business. Soon, the live stream started, and she let rip for a good 10 seconds or so. Brass Against has
Did she rip that off from Mandy Moore?
They have since apologized for the stunt, and on behalf of Arista, too, it seems, taking to Twitter to write, "We had a great time last night, and welcome to Rockville." At Welcome to Rockville, Sophia got carried away. That's not something the rest of us expected, and it's not something you'll see again at our shows. Thanks for bringing it last night, Daytona. They said so. Yeah.
Hey, sorry about pissing on your face.
But you know what? They have they made the news.
They sure did.
So the story's making the rounds, and she's like a really cute girl.
She
too.
actually is. It's bizarre.
Yeah,
and that's why it's in this segment.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Scorpions in Egypt have stung 3 people to death in the southern city of Aswan after heavy storms brought them into the streets and homes. So some 450 more people were injured by scorpion stings. The hail and thunderstorm in the area near the River Nile on Friday was particularly violent, and scorpions are regularly washed into the streets by heavy rain, while snakes have also been disturbed. Extra doses of antivenom have been provided to medical centers and villages near mountains and deserts. Doctors have been pulled away from giving vaccinations to treat scorpion stings. People have been urged to stay at home and avoid places that have many trees. Egypt is home to fat-tailed scorpions that are among some of the most deadly in the world. Venom from the black fat tail can kill humans in under an hour.
Yeah, so I know that the ones that are domestic are not as venomous.
Well, the ones that I think over here aren't that venomous either. So symptoms related to widespread venom effects can include difficulty breathing, muscle twitching, and unusual head movements.
Yeah, whatever it is, it doesn't look pleasant to get stung by one of those.
Yeah, so, I mean, a lot of people. 3 people dead, 450 have been hospitalized, so it's no joke.
I'd go hide in the pyramids.
A newlywed couple ended up in the hospital on their wedding night after a groom crashed a $300,000 Lamborghini, which then burst into flames, a court has heard.
Wow.
Ali Zaman and his bride took their wedding guest supercar for a spin after their marriage ceremony. But after macho posturing with another driver at a traffic light, Zaman sped off and collided with the motorist that he had challenged to the race. The Lamborghini burst into flames after the crash, and then both vehicles were written off completely, while Zaman and his wife suffered minor injuries. Footage taken after the crash showed the totaled supercar engulfed in flames while emergency services were seen rushing to the scene. Zaman had taken the green Lamborghini Huracan without his guest's knowledge, the court was told.
My God.
The wedding guest had securely parked the Lamborghini outside the venue, and the man left his car keys in his coat pocket as he entered. But when he came to leave, the man discovered that the keys were no longer there. The wedding guest thought that Zaman had taken the Lamborghini and tried to call him. The insurance policy on the supercar allowed anyone with permission and over the age of 30 to drive the vehicle. Zaman admitted driving a motor vehicle dangerously and also assaulting a person thereby occasioning them bodily harm. He was sentenced to an 18-month community order with the requirement of completing 180 hours of community service as well. So.
Well, people think they don't realize until they get behind the wheel of a high-performance car just what it can do.
Oh, yeah. Especially if you try to, punch it and and make turns. That's where you really get into trouble.
Teach this Prius a lesson.
So this happened in Brazil, about 500 miles west of Rio. A cow had escaped from a cattle ranch, wandered next door to a resort, climbed the stairs of a water slide, and then made its way down the flume.
It's amazing.
A cow did this.
Whee! Guess what I get to do?
The cow had been destined for the slaughterhouse, but after this, the owner of the ranch has decided to spare the animal and make him a pet.
I mean, honestly, Preston, it could have been an utter catastrophe.
But it was not. So they even named him. His name is Toboga.
Toboga.
In Portuguese, it is the word for slide. So that's what they've named him. And the most amazing part is the slide was only rated for 450 pounds, and the cow clocked in at over 700. So the cow was able to be held up by this water slide. It had some real integrity to it.
It's amazing that it was able to do this.
Yeah, it's hilarious. All right, then we'll do one more story, and we will wrap it. This is a terrible story. Oh, my God. Maybe I shouldn't. And you know what? I'll do something else. We'll save this one for later. A man, this is a follow-up story. The man who called 911 leading to a teenage girl being rescued after she was reported missing in Kentucky has said he actually did not recognize a viral hand signal used to indicate help is needed, as was previously reported. Contrary to prior statements from the sheriff's office dealing with the case, David Isaac said on Tuesday that he didn't recognize the viral hand gesture and that he called police after noticing the girl was mouthing, "Help me," and appeared to be in distress. So I think what happened is maybe she told him that she did that hand signal.
And they thought,
And they thought that he had seen it, but it was her mouthing the word, "Help me."
Well, whatever, it got the desired result. Yeah.
The 16-year-old girl who is from Asheville, North Carolina, was reported missing by her parents on November 2nd before being rescued 2 days later. She was riding as a passenger in a silver Toyota when Isaacs passed her on the interstate in Kentucky and called police. 61-year-old James Herbert Brick was arrested by authorities on the same day. Isaac said he did notice the hand motion, saying that the girl kept putting her 4 fingers out the window, but he added he didn't recognize the gesture. He said she was mouthing, "Help me." She said, help me," twice, and I think she even lip-synced "Call 911." It looked like she had been crying.
Isn't the gesture to tuck your thumb in to your palm and then lower your other 4 fingers? Right?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
That's the signal.
Yeah.
But he saw the 4 fingers,
Right.
and at least that got his attention, and then he saw her saying, "Help me." So, all right, and there you go. That is the Bizarre File. Let's take a break, come back in just a moment, and more to come, my friends. Stay with us.
Preston and Steve on 93.3 WMMR.
You know, we couldn't do the Camp Out for Hunger without all our sponsors.
They make it happen. We couldn't do it without them.
93.3
To me, the most
WMMR.
important thing, I always say that a technique without concept is like giving a machine gun to a kid.
Okay.
You know, it's a very powerful weapon that if you don't know how to use it, you're just going to injure other people around you, you know, with your lack of musicality.
Yeah.
So to me, it's always go back to the music. What is musical? You know, sometimes you hear this term, "Oh, he's such a musical drummer."
Yeah.
What does that mean? That he plays with taste. You never say, "Oh, he's such a musical piano player,"
Right.
because it's understood that musicians play music, and a lot of times drummers are not musicians. There's just drummers that bang away at the instrument.
You and I are going to play together.
Okay.
Here's what I'd like to do. We jam a little bit.
All right.
And then I want you to show me something stupid. So, or something awesome, because we got to get a taste of.
All right, so
sounds good.
Sashay on over there. Preston's ambling on over, and Antonio's getting in place. And we have 2 drum kits here, side by side.
I am so nervous. I'm shaking a little bit.
Antonio, do you know how to play Wipeout? Can you play Wipeout?
Stop it.
I never did, but we can.
Why don't you want to like trade 8? I'll start a beat and we can trade 8 on a little solo one or something like that.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, who's going to start first so we know?
Well, we'll start together.
All right. Oh, you start. Oh, okay.
Well, you know what? Here's the deal. I'll play a rhythm, and Antonio will sync up with me because he may start playing something I can't play.
Yeah.
So let me start.
That's probably inevitable.
Okay.
Yeah.
So and then at some point I'll do like a little 8-beat riff, and then he'll do it, and we'll figure it out, right?
Yeah.
All right. We'll figure it out.
You'll figure it out.
All right. I don't know what to do.
awesome.
I'm sorry, I have to say, man, come on, what are you talking about? You sound great.
See?
Yeah.
So Chuck was standing back here. He goes, he points at Preston. He goes, he's a rock drummer, and then he points at you, Antonio. He goes, he's a jazz drummer. He said there was a difference, and so I can't tell. I'm not a drummer. I can't tell the between the.
Yeah. Well, to begin with, the sound of the drums is very different. You know, yours are tuned like a rock kid.
Yep.
But man, your time is really good.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
That's, you see?
I appreciate
You beat
it.
yourself up for nothing. Listen to the man. He knows what he's talking about.
I don't even know what just happened and what I just watched, but the beats and your hands going at different times and your feet going at different times, it was amazing.
Well, but Kathy, and that speaks to why you need to go see. You need to go see in person, at the Ardmore, because it's obviously something that it's to see it and see it performed live is a wholly other thing. You appreciate it, hearing it, but seeing it is a whole other realm.
Yeah, well, I think seeing like a really good musician doing what they do live is like going to see an amazing, sports person.
Yeah.
Is the only place where you can actually see somebody do that at that level. So I think it's really interesting.
Can I ask, and I don't know if this, listening, and Preston, obviously was going on about the Birdman soundtrack and everything. Were there any things that jump out for your composition for the movie that you're super proud of? Anything you could sort of demonstrate for us? Was there any sort of thing that you created or a passage or something that you were especially proud of?
I mean, to me, the most amazing thing about having been part of that project is that I only had the drums to do everything that I needed to do.
Was that per your idea, or did the director himself?
No, the director.
Okay.
The director was, because he's a drum fan. He was a big Pat Metheny fan, actually.
Right.
And he's the one that really wanted just drum set. So I had to figure out different ways of making the drums sound completely different.
To give them different shades of character.
Yeah. So that was one of the most interesting things about the whole project. Just the research I had to do to get different sounds out of the drums.
And Antonio, I know about the how you recorded that, Steve. They didn't film it and show Antonio the scenes as he was playing along. Can you tell him how they did it?
Yeah, it was a really unorthodox way of doing it, because they sent me the script, and Iñárritu, the director, wanted already some tracks before they started shooting. So we did the whole movie just off of the script.
Without ever seeing any imagery, you were just going off the written words.
So he would just sit in front of me, and I would ask him, this is a very long scene, so I would ask him to explain the scenes to me, and then he would just raise his hand whenever he would see the next phase of the scene happening in his head, so that I would get the timing right.
Yeah.
So then he was just sitting in front of me, and I would just be improvising, and then he would raise his hand, and I would think, okay, somebody opened the door.
Wow.
And then
That's
I would play an
crazy.
accent and then keep playing. So we did the whole movie like that.
Yeah.
It was really cool. And then they superimposed those
passages,
tracks, on the rough cut of the film. Then they showed me what they did, and then we redid a lot of the things.
You sort of shorted up.
Yeah, and this time looking at the film.
Huh.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's why you have that it has such a jazz feel to it.
Yep.
Yeah, even
Absolutely.
cinematically.
Hey, Press, we only have a couple of more minutes if you wanted to.
I want to get, if you don't mind, if you wouldn't mind doing a little improv for us real quick.
Yeah,
Just
sure.
Antonio Sanchez. Here we go. Oh my God!
Holy hell! That's freaking amazing!
Oh my God! I'm telling you. This guy brings out voices of the drums you've never heard before. That squeaking at the end there.
I thought something had fallen because he was kind of reaching down, but you went underneath the drum?
He was playing with the snares. Yeah, and also hitting not only the hi-hat with the edges of the sticks, but the snare drum with the butt of the sticks at the same time.
Playing the whole drum. That's massively
unique.
impressive.
Oh my God.
Unbelievable.
Thanks for having me.
You kidding me? It's an honor of mine. Thank you so much for being
pleasure,
here.
man. Thank
Ladies
you.
and gentlemen, Antonio Sanchez. Thanks for being here, Antonio.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, guys.
And this, and then the next thing.
Okay, what is the next thing?
The next thing is there's another Philadelphia legend.
I don't see the phone line.
He's zooming.
Yeah, we're
oh
zooming.
my
God! All right, real quick. You have about 3 minutes left to enter the word flowers for the money clip. So you got to do that now. Flowers. And that we will get a winner a little bit of $500. Yes, he's a Philadelphia legend, and we love him. Going to be performing on let's see, Saturday, yeah, at the Hard Rock in Atlantic City. And I'm telling you, I told you I got a Twitter alert this morning that he was tweeting about us. And it was ridiculously early. We hadn't even started the show. It was like 5:30 this morning.
Yeah.
So I don't know what he's doing up at that hour. But ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Mr. Bob Saget is joining us.
Preston, Steve, I don't know what to say. And to hear 5 people applaud in the morning makes me feel like I'm on South Park. It's so good. I am so stupid. I got up, as I do at my elderly age, to go to the bathroom. And I said, hey, you know what? I'll tweet the show. That'll be great. And then I put, I'll be on at 7 a.m. because that's LA time. And I forgot that there is a time difference.
Yes. But I was shocked. So that would have been we would have been up at like 2 o'clock in the morning doing that this morning.
Yeah.
2:30 in the
I
morning.
watched the movie Mank last night because I wanted to know how good.
Thank you, Kathy. Over the weekend, my wife is still on the back end of getting better. We both. I got sick at Camp Out for Hunger, and then right as Camp Out for Hunger was ending, whatever I had, Rochelle got really, really sick. So she was just in bed all week last week. So
She got it worse than you, didn't she?
Yeah, I thought she did. So finally started feeling a little bit better.
Good.
But we didn't want to get out and go running around or anything like that because she's still kind of in recovery mode. So we decided to just hang around the house and cook some stuff. I thought it was a perfect opportunity because I told you guys that I wanted to try some new side dishes. Not necessarily, new creations, but just ones that I've never tried before, or different versions of recipes. And we have some family coming in from out of town. I don't like to cook for people anything that I haven't tried yet.
How many people are coming in?
Just 2.
Okay.
But I want to make something that I've never made before.
So did you have Thanksgiving in mind when you were making these, or was it just like experimenting?
No. Thanksgiving. This was like I said. I posted about it yesterday. We did a little R&D in advance of Thanksgiving, a little research and development.
Quick question: did you wear goggles?
I did not wear goggles. No, but I did try some recipes that some listeners had sent to me. Because a couple of weeks ago, I said something about, or maybe it was last week. I got a bunch of emails from people who were like, "Hey, we always serve this. This is good. Try this." So I'm like, you know what? Let's cook up 4 or 5 of these and try them out.
To me, this is going to be the year. And I sent you an article about how expensive this is going to be. One of the most expensive Thanksgiving meals ever because prices going up. Blah blah blah. Long story short, though, it is forcing people to look for other options, other dishes they might not have tried.
Mm-hmm.
So this is kind of a good thing. If you something that rocks another family's world might be cool for you guys.
By the way, the article you sent me, Steve, it's according to the Farm Bureau. The average cost of preparing Thanksgiving dinner in 2020 was about $47. That seems pretty cheap, doesn't it?
It does. It do.
And it's expected to cost about 5% more this year.
Okay.
So it's not
Right.
crazy. It's just up a little bit. Corn.
Wait, 47 per person?
It just says the average cost of preparing Thanksgiving dinner in 2020 was $47.
That has to be per person.
It doesn't say,
guess
but
not.
anyhow. Corn
with caviar,
which is used to feed turkeys, is more expensive, and that's causing an increase in the cost of turkeys. Prices on beef, poultry, fish, and eggs are up more than 10% as well. So you're going to see a little bit of a bump up in the price this year. But I brought something in for you guys.
Something that you tested.
Yeah.
And okay.
So, Connor, if you could go, I brought some stuff. He's going to go microwave it real quick just to warm it up. So
is
you
that
can
why
just pop
Connor's
it in
wearing a bikini?
for like 30 seconds. I didn't bring much.
Okay.
I didn't know. And Casey, you're not having any. You're on a juice cleanse.
I'm on a juice cleanse.
I'll have Casey's portion.
But I made a few different things from stuff that listeners brought in. I made these bacon wrapped carrots. It's maple bacon.
Oh.
So as you drizzle a maple syrup on them,
Drizzle's a great word.
as you bake them in the oven, and those were really tasty. Very, very easy to make. A listener, also, and I don't have everybody's names who sent me this, but a listener sent in a nice recipe for sausage stuffing.
Sausage stuffing.
Which I normally don't do. I normally just do bread stuffing.
Right,
but
right.
The one with sausage stuffing. That was great. I had it for breakfast yesterday.
Nice.
Leftover.
It's
I'm
not
like,
just
"Got
for dinner anymore."
Got sausage in it?
Yeah.
I can do breakfast with that.
And stuffing is like toast.
We did a cream corn. We did a pumpkin pie sheet cake, which was different. And it's a pie. It's not a cake base. It's a regular pie crust. But Rochelle made the pie crust, but it's made in a really big sheet pan.
Yeah.
And it was really, really good, by the way.
Pumpkin. Now, I'm a pumpkin pie fan. You are, right?
Yeah. I just get tired of pumpkin spice everything.
Yeah.
And I love, love, love pumpkin pie. But
Yeah,
when they try to
same.
cram it in every kind of coffee that's made, I get a little
Pain
bored
in
of
the
it.
ass.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a very stupid question about cream corn. Is it called that because you have to add cream to the corn?
Because you cream when you eat
Yes.
it.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
And like cream spinach and things like that.
Yeah.
Similar thing. But
Yeah, I never put two and two together there.
Michelle makes ours with cream cheese, so it's a little bit different. So what Connor's warming up and bringing in right now is macaroni pie. I was telling you guys about this.
Now, I love
this southern delicacy that I haven't had in ages.
And you know what I said I wanted? And I like it to be a little bit more baked,
Yes.
more firm, more or less runny.
It's it's firm. It's not crispy. You had said the word
That's
crispy.
okay.
But Connor's bringing this now, and I want you guys to try it out because Rochelle made this. I found
Thank
the
you, sir.
recipe. She actually sent it to me, and it's from a restaurant.
And this is macaroni, huh?
It's called Sweetie Pie's Mac and Cheese, and I freaking love it. I can't get enough of it.
This is very almost bread pudding-y.
Right? See, you can slice it. I mean, that's the thing. No, this is for somebody else over there. Kathy, you going to try this?
No, I can't eat it.
Really?
Yeah.
Can't have pasta?
Well,
I can't have pasta. I can't have dairy.
She's going through her 500 things.
Man.
Oh my God, this is so good.
Right?
I'm sorry, Kathy.
Isn't it
You-
phenomenal?
you missing out. This is
I slid
Connor,
it over
you
to
want to try it?
Yeah, Connor.
He doesn't want to try it. Okay.
Are you kidding me?
Connor, try it.
No, it's really good.
It's outstanding.
This I could deal with. So what makes this? It is very much like bread pudding.
Yes,
I think.
So it's sweet.
The way no, it's not sweet.
It's not sweet.
He's just saying the consistency, the way it's held together.
Oh, okay.
It's not sweet at all. It's super duper creamy and cheesy. You know what helps hold that together is there's egg in the recipe.
Yeah.
And so when you make it like that, it solidifies sort of, and it congeals, I guess would be a better way to put it.
Huh.
And it is so damn good.
It's
Like I couldn't stop eating it this weekend.
It's different textures throughout. It starts a little sort of crusty and crunchy at the top, and then it's a little smoother by the bottom.
Dude,
and I love it.
This is so good.
And then it explodes in your mouth.
I'm going to eat
I'm so
Kathy's
glad
as well.
you don't want any, Kathy.
No, keep. I'm sorry.
Oh, man.
It is. This is more along the lines of what I look for in macaroni and cheese.
I'm telling you, man.
All right, so it's macaronis, eggs, cheese.
Yep. Various cheeses. So there's like 3 or 4 different kinds of cheese.
Okay.
There's flour, and I didn't make it. Rochelle put it together. I found the recipe, and she was the one because we were all making different things. So it's got macaroni, whole milk, evaporated milk, eggs, butter, Colby Monterey Jack cheese, sharp cheddar, pepper, salt, sour cream.
Okay.
Oh,
And,
so we're looking
and
at.
you put a little extra cheddar cheese on top of it.
I guess people have prepared it also as like little individual like pies.
This
or?
isn't the same thing that
Oh,
we're
it
looking
isn't?
at here, but yeah, you can. I would imagine. So stuff like this, you can make in like cupcake molds.
Yeah,
and make little individual ones.
Is mac and cheese a standard at your Thanksgiving table? Because I've never had it on Thanksgiving.
No,
no,
Okay.
not mine, but this will be.
Pedophiles.
This is fantastic, Marissa. I'm sorry, Nick.
Can I make a mac and cheese observation?
Yes.
I think it needs small noodles.
Okay.
Smaller than this?
Small? No. This is like the perfect size noodle. I've been to a couple of Friendsgivings recently, and friends have used those like corkscrew noodles, not rotini, like the corkscrew, like longer ones.
Right. I also don't like it when people try to use penne for mac and cheese.
Yeah.
No, you need elbow macaroni.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like when it just, as long as it's smaller, because when it's too long, then it's not creamy anymore, and it's like a little dry, and it just is like eating pasta, like spaghetti.
Well, I'm digging this. This is a home run. Yes, this is what you guys are going to have? Absolutely.
I'm sorry.
Steve, let me ask you a question.
It's for breakfast.
If you were to take this, which
Yeah.
I find to be delicious as well, and if you put it in the oven for about 2 minutes, get a little bit of crust on
That's
the top.
what now
Right?
it'd be all I could do to drop
Yeah.
my pants.
We
and
could
start
have
spanking
baked
it right in the kitchen.
We could have baked that longer, and it
Okay.
would have been Steve. You could do the same recipe and just bake it a little.
Oh
bit
my God!
longer if
I'd
you
rub it
wanted
on my
to.
face and call myself a bitch.
But I want to thank those that sent in the recipes because they were.
Preston, that's a home run.
Yeah.
And can you post that since it's on the
I
website?
will. I had to look it up, and it's called Sweetie Pie's mac and cheese. I've got the recipe here, but a quick search on it, Marissa, you can find it.
Because I looked up cream pie, I got something wholly other.
Oh,
Preston.
yeah, cream pie is going to yield
Oh
you
my God.
a different result.
In fact, it was nothing, but there was a great recipe for blue waffles that I saw.
Oh, shut up, man. I'm getting excited for Thanksgiving. So
Oh, my
that's-
God, yes.
that's next week.
Listen.
So I'm glad we did this in advance. I highly recommend this of testing some stuff out ahead of time because you also get to eat the goodies leading up to Thanksgiving.
I also know for a fact that you're that a lot of people are doing this now because they want people want to see their families and they want to get back to that sort of deal again. And but like you, Preston, they don't want to make their guests lab rats.
Right.
So they want to test some of the stuff first. There are
the way-
people, by the way, who'll be cooking their first Thanksgiving turkey. You know.
By the way, in the Instagram post, the thing that people commented most on that I put in is that it looks like I chopped my hand off.
Wait.
Oh, it kind of does.
Yeah, it looks like I have a nub instead of
Wow.
a hand.
Wait, was it
The
on
way that I was
Instagram?
positioned, I had my
Here you
hand
go, Kev.
back like
Oh, yeah.
this, and I was taking a picture like this.
Oh, it does.
See that
Yeah.
my hand
Yeah.
is hidden, and
You belong in
the overwhelming majority of the comments are, "What happened to your hand?"
You could be an Iron Man 3 in this.
Yeah. You're going to use the what is the Excelsius?
Guy
or what?
Pierce's stuff.
Yeah.
To bring your
Your
hand
limbs
back.
back. Yeah. Except you will explode eventually.
That's
my God,
true.
that's
It'd be
funny.
worth the risk,
Yeah.
though. But
Wow, man. So that to me should enter. That enters the playlist of must-make items for a holiday.
done deal.
Yeah.
I'll try to bring you one every year if I
Yeah.
can. Steve.
Now what-
Kathy,
now
I
what's-
thought about making it for you so
What?
that you could make this for you and you can bring it somewhere.
Oh, okay. Yeah, thank you.
I didn't. No, I said I thought about it. I didn't say I was
and then
gonna do it.
and then he snapped out of it. What
Then
other
he realized what he was
other
thinking.
dishes did you make that were home that hit? So you said the carrots with the
yeah, the carrots fantastic.
Okay.
Everything. The sausage.
Oh, we're looking at the carrots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The sausage.
Wow.
Stuffing. I think I'm going to make all of this for
I love how
Thanksgiving.
somebody says bacon wrapped carrots. Share the recipe. I mean, it's just a piece of bacon around a carrot, right?
Yeah, but do you know what temperature and how long I cooked it?
Okay. Come on, man,
there's
And
more to it
the
than
fact
that.
that I glazed it halfway through with maple.
All right, well, there you
maple
go.
Then he
syrup.
did a
Actually,
lobby-
it was
he-
super duper easy.
He cut off his hand to make sure it tasted
And
right.
on a couple of them, I cut up some sage and sprinkled that on there too. And yeah.
You ever done asparagus wrapped in prosciutto and a little bit of cream cheese on the asparagus?
No, I've done bacon wrapped asparagus,
Okay.
but not.
We
but
did
not
a
prosciutto.
turkey wrapped asparagus.
Okay, yeah, I did prosciutto wrapped asparagus last year, and
That sounds good.
it's really good. You do have to make sure you don't cook the asparagus for too long because it'll get too dark.
I'm not a prosciutto fan, believe it
No?
or not. Yeah,
I'm a
I am
big
just
fan.
not. Yeah,
It's one of my favorite salted meats.
yeah. I have the big book of salted meats. It's
Nick's
a coffee
list
table
of
book.
salted meats.
Yeah, ranks near the top.
A big picture book at home called the Big Book of Salted Meats.
You know, it might be my favorite salted meat. I'm going to cut to the chase.
Well, you know, my father fought prosciutto in World War II, so
I understand.
really?
he's
You
got some
gotta-
bad memories.
I understand.
All right. Well, anyhow, we got it. We got it next week. We can speak more in detail about Thanksgiving as we get closer.
I want to make sure that you parse out. Maybe we can get somebody, another chef or whatever, to get on to give some tips because I think I sense a return to whole hog Thanksgiving splendor because we do love this holiday because it is the simple one. By the way, don't give gifts on this day or we'll drive around and beat you up.
Now,
Casey's cooking a turkey for the first
I
time
am.
this year.
I am. And Perky, the turkey is going to
Perky, the
help
quirky
me.
turkey from the Perky Omen Trail.
Yeah, he's going to help me out with my recipe. No, Press, the hash brown casserole that you guys made, that is going to be at our Thanksgiving table.
Yay!
You guys are hosting?
Yeah, I mean, it's just going to be me and my family and my in-laws.
Okay.
That's it.
And Gary Lar.
And well, if you can find the Soul Train, make it over.
Make it over.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anyhow, good luck with your recipes and your Thanksgiving meal. Like I said, we'll talk a little bit more about it. I saw this other article I wanted to bring up to you guys. So, the title of the article was, "Why do all men like throwing rocks into water?"
Because it's awesome.
And I thought about it. I do like throwing rocks into
So do
water. And in fact, I can't ever imagine being around a natural body of water
And not throwing.
and not picking up a rock and throwing it into the water.
Now, there's throwing the rock into the water and or skipping stones, which are both wonderful.
They're both wonderful.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
mean, you will
think-
obviously skip if given the opportunity.
Absolutely.
I don't think it's just men, though. I don't think I've been near a body of water where I haven't thrown a
Really?
rock in. Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah, I feel like you have to pick a rock up and throw it in the water.
That's very cool.
Well,
When you go down to the fishing hole, Kathy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This article says, "Men, rocks, water, why?" And according to archaeologist and geologist Dr. Reed Faring,
I think I've recorded some data that'll explain this phenomenon.
said that humans have probably been pelting massive chunks of stuff for hundreds of thousands of years. During the late Homo erectus or early Neanderthal periods, throwing rocks was a communal undertaking. Oh, yeah. Let's get together and throw some rocks.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, they didn't have cable yet.
It's also related to survival. How else can you keep a saber-toothed cat off your back and away from your food?
Also, I wonder if it's a way to determine how deep the water is.
And apparently, it's become a viral video. Not a viral, but yeah, it's a video thing now. So there are people,
Okay.
you can watch people throwing rocks.
Like an ASMR kind
Well,
of
there's
thing?
a guy, here we go, Vincenzo Carbone,
Hey!
a self-titled rock-throwing guy. His most popular rock-throwing video is viewed by 11 million people.
Vinny Carbone does this?
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
Vincenzo Carbone.
All right.
Listen, I can watch people throw and skip stones like those. They have competitions.
Yes, they do.
Where they're skipping them
I know.
a dozen, 20 times,
tremendous.
which is
Yep.
amazing. I think the most I've ever gotten is like 6. And
I've
got more. Yeah.
I don't, I have to do it again. But
I
like,
skipped the Panama Canal.
So I have Marissa bring a picture up in our studio. This is my favorite picture of me and my son, and it's me throwing rocks into Lake Champlain.
Okay.
And so, he's probably, I don't even know, like 6, 7 years old or something like that. And it's just two guys doing a
Chucking
dry
rocks.
thing.
Chucking stuff off a
Chucking
bridge.
rocks,
Yeah, lots of stuff.
You
Two
know what,
guys
though?
chucking rocks.
I do like the sound of a nice, big rock. The blorth.
Yeah.
I like that sound. Gablorth. Yeah.
Kablorth?
Gablorth, everyone.
Can we name our next child Kablorth, please?
What is he named after? He's named after the sound a heavy rock makes when dropped into water.
Gablorth.
Oh, his great uncle Jebediah Gablorth.
Kablorth, this is Pladunk. Nice to meet you.
There is a soothing sound that comes from dropping a big.
Yes.
And also, if you can do it off a cliff, which if you go through the Wissahickon Trail, there are a couple of places where you can do that and get a big Gablorth.
Kablorth.
Gablorth.
Kablorth?
Yeah.
I hear more Kabunk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, mine definitely starts with the G.
Yeah.
Yours starts with a G. Kablorth.
Gablorth.
Kablorth. There's a TH at the end.
Yeah.
Sorry
I'd like
about
to
that.
see closed captioning on this
Kablorth.
conversation. No, I love it. It is. There's something soothing about it. It's so very old, rustic entertainment.
There you go.
Skipping stones is equal. Yeah.
Rock throwing's ancient history could explain could explain why the trend is so appealing to modern day men. It's basically a chaotic bonding experience.
Yes.
Most videos feature several fellas cooperating to pick up a boulder that would be too heavy for just one of them. But even the clips that feature solo throwers have become conversation starters for thousands of guys on the internet.
It's what replaces pillaging.
I think that we as human beings have a fascination. I'll narrow it all the way down to this of doing something here,
yes,
and having something happen over
there. Yes,
you know what I mean. That's why, like remote controlled cars, and airplanes, and things like that, or even shooting. If it comes down to that, if you're shooting at a target at a distance, you did something here and it made something happen over there.
That's why
I think we as human beings are just. It's something that we we get some
guys do
some sense of accomplishment, not accomplishment, but just satisfaction out.
Cause and effect. Like,
Yeah.
for example, firing a bazooka at a car across a field.
Fireworks.
It is
I'm
one of
watching that.
my bucket list things to do.
Watch that car
Yeah.
explode. That's why lighting fireworks are more fun than watching them.
Right.
I
because
did that.
You see the lighting process.
I made that explosion. I set that house on fire.
Mm-hmm.
It's why I like having a football catch with my son, and we have catches all the time. So it's a cause and effect. I drop this dime, and if he doesn't catch it, it's like that is so unsatisfying.
You drop this dime?
That's when I drop the dime, like I throw a great pass.
Oh, is that slang for throwing a great pass?
Yeah, right on the mark. You know.
By the way, we were looking at one of the rock skipping championships. This looks like the most backwoods thing I've ever seen.
They got to do stuff too, Steve.
Yeah, no, I'm saying.
Hollywood used to be.
All right, let me ask you, Bob.
I just couldn't sleep. How are you guys doing? How are you?
We're doing well. And I wanted to ask you, by the way, because it's a story of Mankiewicz who wrote the screenplay for it. Not to go off on this tangent.
No,
but,
I love I am tangents.
Are you? I contend a lot of people, when they finally see Citizen Kane, they get dismissive of it. It is a masterpiece, is it not? It is worth.
I believe it is.
Okay,
I believe it is.
And
it did a
Saget's
lot
world.
for snow globes. And sleds. Sleds went up.
Were those the
value.
tchotchkes they sold for the?
That was the merch right out in the Chinese Theater.
So all the radio stations in the area, they got snow globes and
they got
sleds.
snow globes and rosebud sleds.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
I can't think of a lot of other RKO pictures except for two more that Orson Welles made after that. But
but
that has nothing to do. And you got to talk to my friend Bill Burr this morning, who is going to be where I'm going to be Saturday. He's going to be there in September, and he's one of my favorite people on the planet.
Well, he was being very humble about. Casey had mentioned that he's kind of in that top.
Chappelle range.
Upper echelon of
he's
Bob
in the
Saget
ethos.
range. Yeah, but he doesn't.
I would put him higher than me, and he would also.
Most people would, Bob.
I was actually talking to him. He was over my house. I'm sorry, you were going to say something about Bill. Go ahead. Just how great he is.
Yeah, no,
I was just going to say, he won't. He doesn't accept that he's at that level, which is healthy, I think, for somebody in the entertainment industry, in any industry, to realize that you can always be better and so on. But he was kind of humble about that.
Yes,
that response.
self-deprecating.
But he's one of the best, man.
He is one of the best, and I was there. I was on before at the Twitter Center in Camden when he had that Opie and Anthony virus set. that
It's
people
legendary.
booed.
Yeah.
I was standing backstage. I was standing next to Jeff Wills, the head of Live Nation Comedy. I was under the monitor. I'm watching it. And I'm going, this is going great. And I said, this is amazing. This is exactly what I would do if I was going to get booed. But I had a sweet spot in the show, like right in the middle.
Yeah.
So by then they got tired of booing people. It was kind of what we call herds now. It wasn't a herd. It was just booers. And he got off stage in a cold sweat. He said, did you see that? That was terrible. I said, Bill, you literally just made history. That video is going to roll forever.
I saw you. I think you're on Rogan describing the whole situation, and that like the comedians all actually something that was promising to be so cool and fraternal turned out to be a nightmare, like Platoon. And you said in that moment he secured his legend by and the fact that he was dissecting everything that we hold dear, and you could win over an audience by throwing it back in their face was just an amazing thing.
He roasted them in the way that roasts. Well, it was cruel what he did, but roasts used to be meant not to be televised, not to be recorded. They were recorded, some of them, but they, when I was roasted on Comedy Central, that should not have been televised. That should have been just for a bunch of people that want to hear that kind of language, because it was, it crossed the line. It was on after 11 or 12.
Sure.
When clips run out of context now, it's, but Bill basically said the worst things you could about my hometown people in my loving Philly. And it was hilarious because he was unrelenting. He would go 5 minutes, 4 minutes, 3 minutes. I'm doing all 15. You deserve it. And what I was going to say was he was over my house. We were smoking a cigar not long ago because that's the best way to get COVID. So we wanted to try that. And we're sitting there talking. And I said, I'm going to be 65 in May, Bill. And, it's so interesting. I got a lot of things starting for me now. I'm going to direct a movie later in the year. I was just in a movie. And it's things, I haven't even done what I came here to do yet. And he looked at me. He exhaled smoke and he said, well, you better effing hurry up. Like I said, I'm not dying, man. I mean, I know Norman Lear. He's not.
You're just looking for a nice little exchange with a friend and a heart to heart, and he basically says you're about to die.
Yeah, telling him that I've got all this great work I'm about to do that I've never done. Because what I share with Bill is the love of stand-up. What I share with everybody, all the people that do it for the right reasons. And it's been hard on a lot of comedians that haven't been able to even make a living. But I'm very fortunate, and Bill is on fire. In fact, I've got to leave and put him out. But Bill is, because he played a firefighter in Pete's movie, but that makes no sense. See, it's not always good.
Well, let me tell you this. I will tell you this, and everyone wants to ask you a question, but I will tell you this. I think things, you mentioned COVID and all that stuff. The things that everyone is sort of looking for as those flags that we're returning to normalcy. Rock concerts and music and stand-up and going out to see stuff like that, live shows. And that's at the heart of what was so crippling for the comedians and musicians. And I feel, obviously you're proof positive as we're promoting your gig that we're turning around now.
First thing, I didn't know I was positive. I was told I was tested negative, but thank you. And I'm glad I heard it from you on the air. But I am beyond thrilled. I have had 2 injections. I had them in my butt.
Yeah.
I actually did the drive-through. So I just
put your ass
stuck it out the window. Yeah, I did the whole thing. And there was a different cheek for each dose of the Moderna. But I'll just go on more about that. So what happened was I really know when to stop, don't I? Anyway, but to go back and to be able to perform, and it's not going to be loaded with people, they have to do the CDC guidelines.
Sure.
So people are going to wear masks, and it's going to probably be half or less, a third. I don't know what the thing is. We're doing 2 shows. My buddy Mike and I have toured for 10 years, and he's doing really well, but we're on tour again because I haven't been this excited to do stand-up, I don't think ever.
That's great.
Ever, because they need it and I need it, and I get to make people laugh, and I'll be able to hear them through a mask,
Yeah. So, Bob, in the world of social media, when you're posting on Twitter and Instagram, and you're posting these photos, you always have to be aware of what's going on in the background because people like to zoom in and you left the toilet dispenser out and or whatever. But now you're doing these Zoom interviews, and clearly you've given your background a lot of thought as well, and we've been doing this with other Zoom interviews.
Right.
So I'm noticing the stuff that is neatly placed on the desk behind you, and I'm wondering if over your right shoulder, is that a Batmobile? I can't really figure out what's going on all the way
It looks like one, but yes, you know what? I think it is. It is. Yes, it is. Oh. I would go get it, but I'm wired to the computer. So,
so Steve,
if I leave, I drag the whole damn setup off the thing. But on the other shoulder is Rodney Dangerfield, a gold. That is an award from the UCLA Brain Society. Not society. It's not a society of brain people. It's the brains. It's the secret brain club.
They're like the aliens from Mars Attacks.
Exactly. It's Mars Attack people. But it's actually was given to me by the people that run the brain ward in the brain center at which is redundant because the brain. Anyway, you're right. You were right earlier. Tangents are not a good thing. I really should have listened when we started. But that was awarded to me by Joan Dangerfield, his widow, and a friend of mine, Joe Gray, at a big event. And he was a good friend. I officiated his funeral, and he started me out on the Young Comedian special when I was like 25, 24.
I remember. Yeah.
Bob, don't you have another piece of memorabilia from Rodney in your collection? Something
I do. It's in the other room. There's a study behind here, and I've got Rodney's pot pipe, and that came out on the Bill Burr, Bert Kreischer podcast. And I've got a box that he kept all of his pot in and his actual pot pipe. And I'm afraid I got to hide just looking at it.
Well, a lot of people don't know that he was a very active pot smoker, and that was his thing. And he was, you know, I wonder now, Bob, with the strains and the potency levels, how do you think he would have held up against the current crop and strains?
I don't think he would have needed the brain surgery. I think literally he could have gone out a little more peaceful, because it was elective brain surgery because it was something that was going to happen to him.
All right.
And I'm not big on elective brain surgery, just me personally, because that's why I stopped practicing brain surgery. But he was like, man, I'll tell you, I'll smoke pot every day. I don't care who knows it. They're going to put it on my epitaph. And I'm like, I don't think you want that on your tombstone. but actually on his tombstone it says, there goes the neighborhood, because he's next to like Billy Wilder and Dean Martin and stuff.
That's sensational. I wanted to just bring up something, because you're mentioning directing and getting onto some projects you're doing. Dirty Work was on the other night, and that you directed that, and Norm Macdonald is in it.
Yep.
And to me, that, and I know a lot of people feel this way, that is a cult status level movie. Do you ever get a chance?
I want to marry you. I want to marry you. I am married. My wife's out of.
Any of the following foods do you plan to serve or eat while watching the Super Bowl this year? So I'm gonna read off all of the ones that they asked about. Mm-hmm. You guys tell me which one you thought was most people said yes to.
All right. Okay.
All right. So pizza, nachos, cheese and crackers, burgers, chicken wings, cookies, ice cream, and chips and dip.
What was the number one of those?
Yeah. What do you think?
I mean, the one that usually gets I believe, is probably the wings.
I would go,
and then pizza.
Yeah, no, really? I would go pizza less. I would probably, normally, I would have gone with you with the wings, but I think chips and dip is probably the number one.
All right. Anybody else?
Yeah, I think chips and dip too.
Yeah, chips and dip.
It is chips and dip. Mm-hmm. Chicken wings is second. Pizza's third, Case.
Wow. There you go.
Pizza's way up there.
We're very good at this.
Now it's set. Now, okay, and then it says nachos.
That's chips and dip.
That's kind of just, I count that as chips and dip. I mean, it's not technically dip.
It's a combo of chips and dip.
Yeah.
This is the worst list ever.
It makes it, but it's its own category as a result.
And I guess because nachos,
it's like bronze.
Yeah, it's like what?
It's like bronze. You know, it's like you combine copper and zinc, you get bronze.
Are people eating bronze for Super Bowl?
No, I'm making an
really
analogy.
shouldn't.
Yeah, that's what Transformers eat when they watch the Super Bowl.
This is excellent bronze.
Here, dip it in this aluminum.
Honey, more platinum, more platinum. Yeah, very good.
I didn't. Okay, I had no idea.
I want to make a clarification going back to the bronze
Please
joke. Brass is copper and zinc.
Oh my God.
Bronze is copper and tin.
Are you sure this is bronze? It tastes like copper and zinc.
We had a beautiful sunrise this morning. I mean, and it was great because, as Nick noted, as I looked outside, it was like 6:05 and there was daybreak, and that's a wonderful thing for us early risers, starting to see the sun that early in the day.
Well, the exact moment that the sun creases the sky every morning, people don't know this, but Kathy stands in a pentagram and slits a chicken's throat.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Hey, we get to eat chicken for breakfast. So.
It's good. Yeah.
Also, it stays darker later. You know, so
Stays darker later.
I mean, stays lighter. Later.
Longer, yeah.
It stays later darker.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
No, because I noticed that yesterday, too. It was it was 6-ish, and it was still nice and bright out.
Yeah.
This is good.
Lighter later.
Yeah.
It gets darker later. It stays lighter later.
It dark.
It gets lighter
dark and dark
sooner.
Yeah.
Have you been off since you left the house this morning because of what happened with your coffee mug?
Yeah, probably.
You didn't hear this story, Preston.
No,
it's going to be a Lifetime movie. Judd Nelson's playing.
I'm sorry, guys. I got to answer this. Donna Levine's calling me. I don't even know who that is. I just got a call on my watch that distracted me. Preston, I made myself some coffee last night.
Okay.
All right. So can I tell you a quick story?
Yeah.
Let me just.
Were you laughing at how happy he was at himself for doing that?
The audio.
Yeah, it was my quick story.
Yeah, that was his joke.
Preston,
I'm going to tell you a quick story. Wow.
If only.
I love it.
Wow, I got a laugh out of Kathy. I set my coffee
I didn't
timer
have to listen to the story.
every night.
You were free.
Coffee.
And so I was on my way into work this morning, poured my coffee, and the very first sip tasted off. And I was like, there's something going on here.
Yeah.
And so I gave it a couple of more sips. It just tasted like dishwashing liquid. It was like Palmolive. So
Yeah, I've had that happen.
And it's just, and I need those 20 ounces to wake up on my way into work this morning, and I didn't get that.
Oh, so you tossed it out and bailed on it, didn't make another cup?
I thought maybe I was going to die from poisoning or something like that, so I decided not to drink
You
it.
don't ever finish a cup of coffee that you feel has been poisoned.
Right?
Yeah.
It is. It's remarkable though. Like little things can set your day in the right direction
my
or in
God.
the completely wrong direction. And that one set. I mean, I'm sure the rest of the day will be fine or whatever. But like a little thing just like that, it puts you in a bad mood. And like I get it. I totally understand where you're coming from, man. It's frustrating.
I haven't picked up on any out of the ordinary.
No, you've been fine.
You seem the same as usual. So you've been faking it all day?
Yep. Fake it till you make it, bro.
Good job, man.
You know what I'm saying?
He was tweeting about this yesterday, posting on social media.
It's amazing
that he was making a film, and it's based on a very well-known story. If you know Bert, you know the story. And what we didn't know is that Mark Hamill is now involved in this project. Amazing. Please welcome Bert Kreischer to our program. Morning.
How you guys doing?
Good, man. Hey, I have no idea what time it is in Serbia. What part of the day you are in now? What's the time?
It is 1:15 in the afternoon, but I've been sleeping all day.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. When did you get in? How long have you been there?
You know what? It's all a blur. Like,
Okay.
we got in, I think, yesterday morning, and by the way, I slept on the flight. Like I've just been sleeping nonstop.
Was, in fact, Mark Hamill on that flight?
He was.
Yeah, there's a great video that Mark posted of him talking about this secret project that he's a part of, and you can see Bert comes around the corner with his shirt off, drinking wine. It was so well done. How did you get Mark involved in this movie, Bert?
So it's kind of tricky because of COVID. We kind of had to narrow it down to like it was a difficult sell because not everyone that is old enough to play my dad would want to come to Serbia.
Right.
And we got word that Mark Hamill was just interested, and everyone dropped everything and was like, "Hold on, that means Darth Vader's my grandfather."
I didn't even think about that.
We lost it, and we took a meeting with him, and he was, it's amazing. You forget like actors really know what they're talking about. Like he had read the script, he had questions about it, he didn't like certain aspects of it, and wondered if we could change it. And we were all like, "Mark, we'll turn this into whatever movie you want it to be."
Yeah. No, it's so cool. One thing since the beginning of the exposure to Mark Hamill in interviews, even for way back when the first Star Wars movie came out, one thing was clear. The dude has a really good sense of humor. So he's got to connect to stuff like this.
I told him, I said, I want to shoot a promo outside the private jet like I do for my tours for this. And so we had like a crew from Legendary to go shoot it. And I said, I gave him, I swear to God, I've given so many more notes to people. All I said was, I'm going to do like an intro read. You just come up and I'll be like, "What's up?" And just say, "Just get on the plane." And I'll go, "Hey, I thought we could do that." And then just cut me off. We did one take and it turned perfectly. I sat with the executive from Legendary and I go, "Okay, I can't tell if that's because he's such a great actor or did we just get lucky?" Like,
yeah.
Well, Bert, you strike me as somebody that not much rattles you, but maybe you'd be not intimidated by Mark, but are you blown away by the fact that he's in this movie with you? Because he is legendary. He is Luke Skywalker.
We watched Star Wars the day before I left with my kids.
Yes.
And my daughters are like, "I cannot believe that's going to be Papa." Like, I cannot believe. He is the reason I got into movies. Like, it's not lost on me at all.
Wow. So a couple things you mentioned. Is Legendary behind this? Are they is it the company?
Legendary.
So they're on a huge roll. And is this a Netflix movie or is it okay? It's
no. I know you can see me. I just shook my head as if we're not doing radio right now.
Full theatrical release.
Well, yeah, we want to put it in theaters.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dude, that's awesome. It's so cool. And so the fact that this, I was thinking about this when the whole idea of the machine, the movie came up. This was such a part of your embryonic act early on, and what you would talk about in the story is just incredibly. People never get sick of hearing about it, but this will now give you the opportunity once it's done. When people ask about it, you can just say, "Watch the movie," because how many times have you told the story?
This isn't the origin. This isn't that story, though, isn't this?
It's a little bit past.
It's a follow up to it, Bert.
So we had pitched versions of the story to a bunch of different places, and we went into Legendary, and this guy Kale, who is a guy who I ran into like 9 years ago, and he saw me do stand-up once in Burbank, and he gave me his card, and he goes, "I want to do a movie with you."
Wow.
This is like 9 years ago. And now I'm in his office, and he goes, "All right, you got to do one movie." He was like, "I want to do a movie with you. What movie do you want to do?" And I said, "Well, if I got one movie to do, it's The Machine." And he goes, "How would you tell that?" And I go, "I got to be honest with you, Kale. I don't know." I said, "My biggest fear is I'm going to get hired for a corporate one day, and I'll get there, and they'll go, 'Just tell The Machine,' and it'll be the Russian mafia." And he lit up and he goes, "Say no more. Say no more.
Wow.
Let's do this movie." And so,
go ahead.
Based off that little pitch, we got writers attached, then a director, and then all of a sudden everything kind of built off of that.
The director is Peter Antisio. Is that how it's pronounced?
Peter Intencio.
Intencio. So he's from Key and
All right,
Peele.
thank you,
and
Kenny.
he did
Before we
the
get to this
movie.
next segment, I'm just going to
yeah.
ask this on the air, Casey. We got a text. We were talking about what's the name of that reservoir that we were talking about?
Springton Lake.
Somebody texted and said there's actually an old neighborhood buried at the bottom of that reservoir that they never completely got rid of the houses. And when the water is low, you can see the tops of the houses.
See, I
don't know if that's true or not.
So when you drive across, there's a little bridge that goes across the Springton Lake Reservoir. And by the way, the water has not been low in that reservoir in a long, long time because they have like a little tower out there, and you can sort of see just through the water levels on that tower. And so the reservoir itself has been pretty full for years now. But on the other side of the road is a giant hill, and I wonder if they're talking about down there.
Because
Interesting.
That's where the stream would flow through, and that essentially that bridge serves as a dam to maintain the reservoir and the water levels.
Right.
So you mentioned this, Preston, this concept, and they have done it before. In fact, in Deliverance, they flood a town. I just watched a horror movie called Deep Dive. Yeah. And they dive down to houses that are under in a lake.
Yep.
But it's a ghost story underwater, which is
pretty
very cool. Very well done. And it incorporates found footage sort of approach with regular directing. So it's not like all Blair Witch-ish, but there are parts of it. It's really well done.
I'll have to take a look-see.
I didn't know if anybody listening might be able to confirm that or not.
That has a like Centralia sort of that sort of just abandoned a town,
ghost townish.
Yeah,
but if you go down that road, I believe that's Palmer's Mill Road. You can go and get to the bottom of that, and I'd like to go down and take a look. So
the top link, the top text disagrees.
Says that story about the sunken town below Springton Lake is absolutely false.
Okay.
Well, there you go.
I bet you that's one of the underwater denizens who wants to keep it a secret.
It was pretty fun while we
Like
thought about it being real for about 5 minutes.
I still want to believe it's real.
Well, listen, there's something that we have not done in a long, long time, and I thought this might be worth bringing up because I don't want it to fade away for good, but I'm going to be the historian now.
All right.
It's been a while since we've done this.
From the vast library high atop the offices of WMMR, we go now to the historian. Deep in repose, one can be deep in repose, and researching diligently new stories to give to us on the air.
I've decided to
His pipe hanging from his mouth, his glasses slightly askew, bathing in the victory of a new way to present macaroni and cheese. I'm just farting this out my ass.
So I'm going to frame this as interesting, strange, and shocking stories from the past.
Wow.
Okay.
Interesting, strange, and shocking stories from the past.
That is correct.
As he just accurately told us, somewhere under a reservoir, there's an entire flooded town.
No, I did not accurately
say that. That's not a true thing. That was completely made up. We found out. But most of this should be relatively accurate.
Somebody texted in and said Lake Nakamixon has a flooded town.
Of course, has a flooded town.
A number of people
The historian made a slight mistake.
A number of people are texting it. No, it wasn't a mistake.
No, it was a completely accurate
Nakamixon is a different. That's a lake. It's not a reservoir.
That's it.
Yeah.
Listen. One of these days, we talked about it years ago, going out and we did ourselves go out and check out some of these places, these legendary places that everyone talks about. What are they? What is this place? And finally get that done.
All right. Well, in the meantime, here's a story from history for you.
History is what has happened in the past.
A power-hungry scientist and an evil dictator bidding to create a super soldier using humans and apes sounds like the stuff of science fiction. However, during Russia's Soviet era, Joseph Stalin poured money into sensational experiments which involved injecting human sperm into female gorillas and, even more shockingly, inseminating human women with the seed of primates.
Oh, yeah. What happened?
Stalin ordered renowned scientist Ila Ivanova to create an invincible breed of Red Army soldiers.
Of superhuman gorilla men!
Secret documents released in the 1990s showed. Archive papers say the Kremlin chief demanded that these mutant warriors be, quote, resilient and resistant to hunger, and he said that they should be of immense strength, but with an underdeveloped brain.
Man, I tell you what. People think, okay, that's purely the stuff of science fiction, but Hitler was into the occult. Stalin was doing stuff like this.
Yeah.
The search for a super serum for soldiers goes on to this day. It's all part of actual history. Historian.
Stalin also wanted them to work on railroad construction. So
With gorillas?
Yeah, he didn't want just soldiers. He wanted these as railroad construction.
He also wanted hotels to be entirely staffed by gorillas. I don't know what that was about.
Scientist Ivanov had made his name.
Welcome. Will you be staying the weekend?
At the turn of the century by perfecting
More pillows to room 403, please.
By perfecting artificial insemination in horses, providing that the sperm of one male stallion could impregnate up to 500 females. No, this was species to species.
Okay, so now were they doing gorilla horses or?
No. This is horses and horses.
Okay. Of courses.
He then began experimenting with hybridization and tried to create a super horse by crossing the animals with zebras.
So what would a super horse be capable of?
I don't know, but
flying?
He wasn't any good. He didn't succeed in that.
How comes this can't fly?
Ivanov and the Soviet leaders became interested in the possibility of crossing humans with their closest relatives in radical experiments which would enhance the reputation of Russian science.
I want you to create a gorilla mouse.
The term humanzee was coined later in the 20th century and refers to a human-chimp crossbreed, a scientifically possible hybridization.
Isn't this incredibly chilling? I mean,
yeah.
And there's stuff we don't know that's going on right now that's similar to this.
Well, this gets even more. So in 1924, Ivanov put his proposals for the warped hybridization experiment to the Soviet government and received funding for a trip to Africa to collect animals.
Yeah, sure.
And despite his work being controversial, he managed to secure support from Pasteur Institute in Paris, which let him use a research station in Guinea, West Africa for ape breeding research. However, when he arrived at the research center, he discovered that the chimps were not mature enough to take part in the experiment. He then began researching how best to capture and subdue the animals. The scientist wrote, "The biggest problem is to catch living females." Researchers learned to torch trees and chase apes into cages as they scampered down, and he managed to inseminate 3 chimps with human sperm, but none of the beasts fell pregnant. Ivanov reported that, listen to this is the worst part.
All right.
That
it's pretty bad up to now.
African women had been seized to be impregnated with ape serum.
Can you imagine this?
But no pregnancy resulted.
Horrible!
Female gorillas were set to receive human sperm as well before the experiments were shut down, so they never got
Why
to
didn't
do
they at least give them the option of using dating apps?
Ivanov then headed back to the Soviet Union, where he set up an ape nursery with 20 chimps in the subtropical republic of Abkhazia near Georgia.
I don't know. I've had a sleep and woke up here.
While his project failed, Ivanov was arrested in 1930. He became one of the millions rounded up by Stalin and died in a labor camp in 1932.
You look at this stuff that Joseph Mengele did, and you look at the stuff that the Japanese were doing on the Chinese. They're Mengele-like doctors during World War II. It's in there's a movie called Men Behind the Sun. I mean, like, how can you do this?
Yeah.
And that the end result was a guerrilla army.
Yes. All right.
And what did the end result prove? That other than
they couldn't do it.
Yeah,
they just tried it. They went out to try.
We have tried guerrilla armies,
to
not
make it happen.
effective, and we're going broke on bananas.
And they couldn't do it.
I just, and there obviously is a scientific answer to the question as to why certain sperm won't interact with other eggs.
Standoffish.
Yeah. No, but but you have crossbreeding with lion and a tiger. You have a liger.
Liger, yes. Why does some take and others
and
don't?
why you can't crossbreed a dog with a cat?
I'm kind of surprised that you can't crossbreed a horse and a zebra. I thought that you would be able to.
Right? Are they not similar genetically? I mean, very similar. You would think in anything within the simian realm. So
like a spider monkey and an orangutan.
They might. I mean, they're kind of in the same deal.
I have no idea.
Could a Great Dane inseminate a Chihuahua?
Wow.
Right?
Good question. I mean, I know the dogs can crossbreed, obviously, right?
You're probably better off doing it the other way around.
Could a gorilla and a Chihuahua get it up?
No, I meant Chihuahua to Great Dane because
there's a lot more playroom.
But
you can't take it from behind.
Well, no, because you would have to do it.
Yeah, doggy style.
Step ladder you'd need.
I was just thinking, if it was a Chihuahua pregnant with a Great Dane puppy, the Great Dane puppy's not going to. It's not going to explode the child.
It's going to eventually devour the mother.
I'll tell you what's going to happen is the Great Dane's going to leave town and be nowhere to be found.
That's right.
Yeah. All right.
And there's going to be one pissed off Dane Wow Wow.
We could go on and on about this.
My mind is reeling.
We're going to go
Kathy's actually drawing pictures of these things.
We're going to a different story now. Something else. Another interesting.
Now that we leave the world of Soviet sperm and gorilla experimentation, the historian takes us into another part of history as he waves his pipe at Kathy in a most suggestive manner.
This one, well, I could tell you what I have written down in parentheses at the top of this.
Is it disgusting?
Yes, it's called rectal feeding.
I'm all in.
Okay.
So, do you do the thing where you go, woo, and you move the spoon around the anus?
No. So
here comes the choo-choo train.
Listen to this bit of history here for you, friends. During Charles Guiteau's trial for the murder of President James A. Garfield, he said, quote, "I admit to shooting the president. It was the doctors who murdered him." Though he was convicted, he may have had a bit of a point given the surgeries and rectal feeding that he was forced to endure. This is crazy.
So were they vis-a-vis like an enema feeding him instead of a tube down the throat? They were feeding him backdoor style?
Well, let's go down the story here, and you'll find out. So at 9:30 a.m. on July 2nd, 1881, President James A. Garfield was shot as he waited for a train to take him for his summer vacation, less than 4 months into his presidency. He was his assassin grazed the president on the shoulder with one bullet, but the second one went through his first lumbar vertebrae and lodged firmly in his abdomen. A number of doctors rushed to attend the president, one of whom was named Dr. Willard Bliss.
Doctor?
His first name is actually Doctor.
Oh, my God.
Yes.
That's right out of Spies Like Us.
And also it's right out of Doctor Strange.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mr. Doctor?
Strange.
Yes, it is odd. So he would go on to be Garfield's chief doctor over the next few months until his death.
I recommend lasagna.
After he declared quite dramatically, if I can't save him, no one can. Well, it turns out that the best system for getting a doctor might not be to see who shows up and see who calls dibs. However, as many questions arose about his medical care, with quite a few of them being, what the hell? The doctors on the scene attempted to remove the bullet through the time-honored method of essentially jamming their unwashed fingers in there and to see if they could wiggle it out.
Oh, my God.
But with no luck, moving him back to the White House, they tried again to help the president by digging around with unwashed medical equipment inside his body without washing their hands first, a technique now known as finishing the assassin's job. His death was not necessarily assured when he went in for these surgeries. It's possible that he could have survived these injuries had the medicine around the time been adhered to. Though the team did not sterilize their equipment, that wasn't because the technique wasn't around yet. Joseph Lister, pioneer of antiseptics, had been demonstrating the medical benefits. Is that where we get Listerine
Yes,
from?
it is. Yes. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And Lord Douche was another leader in
so
the
this
technology.
has been around for about 20 years. Though European doctors were quicker to adopt proper hygiene, the methods were known about in America following Lister's tour of the United States in 1876 and were beginning to be accepted by doctors and surgeons there, too. So Bliss was not among them. In his determination to get the bullet out, he and his team repeatedly introduced germs into the president's wounds over the next 9 weeks.
More germs.
Listen, at 9 weeks, a couple of months
Yeah.
they were working on him.
Put some raw chicken in that wound.
To cap it all off, Garfield was given large doses of morphine for his pain and also quinine for what they wrongly believed to be malaria.
Is that quinine?
I don't know what that is. Yeah, what is it?
It's like I've heard of quinine water, and I don't know exactly what it's all used for.
That's probably what it is.
Yeah.
So the combined treatments left the president unable to keep much liquid and food down, which is when the good doctor began looking around for other access points for sustenance. And he was about to start shoving food into the president's butt.
Give me that hoagie.
Before he did die, he had to endure nearly 3 months at the hands of a doctor who had an astonishing determination to feed him through his rectum.
No.
First, Bliss tried feeding yolks of eggs up in there mixed with beef extract and whiskey.
How about a smoothie?
But he decided to cease this due to annoying and offensive flatus.
Okay, so he's farting his brains out.
Yeah, the symptom was promptly relieved by discontinuing the egg.
How the hell did they allow, considering who he was, to allow basically these guys to experiment on him?
There weren't that many doctors around that were saying, yeah, I can do this. So listen to this. The egg that they stopped putting in there was switched for cow's blood.
Oh, my God.
But this didn't work out either, as the, quote, character of the ejecta demonstrated.
Okay, so it came back out?
I guess so.
I'm not familiar with a lot of this terminology.
The team eventually settled on a mix that didn't cause odd smells, though that seems quite the low bar for successful medicine. The recipe was as follows. So here's what they were shoving up his butt.
All right, if you're looking for something to serve on Thanksgiving, get a pen and paper.
Third of a pound of fresh beef, finely minced, in 14 ounces of cold, soft water, to which a few drops of muriatic acid and a little salt had been added. After digesting for an hour to an hour and a quarter, strain it through a sieve and wash the residue with 5 ounces of cold water, pressing it to remove all soluble matter. The mixed liquid will contain the whole and the soluble constituents of the meat, and then it may be drank cold or slightly warmed.
Okay.
But they
Oh,
were
my God.
they were going up his butt with it.
Well, then what? Drinking's not an option. So I assume they were applying it like an enema bag, right?
Yeah, essentially. So the resulting
And now
infections
stuffing.
from the surgeries ordered by Dr. Bliss, combined with malnutrition caused by malaria treatment and rectal feeding, are in the end what killed the president.
All right, so let me ask you a question. If you do, and I've heard of this, I don't even know how it would be possible. People have done things like beer enemas or booze. I've heard claims that they can actually taste it when that happens. Is that simply psychological?
I don't know.
Yeah, so
I mean, there's no taste buds in your
right
butt.
in your butt.
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean,
so
that's what my uncle says.
maybe it's psychosomatic. Maybe you're getting
By
this
the way,
on-
son, Steve, remember that there's no taste buds in your butthole. Gotcha.
I didn't know it took 2 months for Garfield to die after he got shot.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And just endured.
Well,
it must have been miserable. It must have been agony.
The doctors were killing him, basically.
There was a stretch from 1860 until 1980 where every president who was elected in a year divisible by 20 was either shot or died.
Yeah.
So it started with Lincoln in 1860, and then Garfield in 1880, and then
But only one had butt food.
yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
All right. I have another interesting story that I would pass along. These are
That was weird. That was incredibly weird. Between guerrilla super soldiers and butt feeding, how does a historian possibly top those two?
These are interesting, strange, and shocking stories from the past. So this one is out of World War II.
All right.
The world may never have witnessed the horror of the atomic bomb if the U.S. had pressed ahead with a far more bizarre plan in World War II, and that was to drop bats fitted with incendiary devices onto Japanese cities.
Explosive bats.
Kind of, sort of.
Yeah.
The idea was dreamed up by amateur inventor and dentist Little Adams.
We need something that can help defeat the Japanese. Bring in a dentist.
And Adams apparently knew Eleanor Roosevelt.
Oh, well, there you go.
And it would have seen thousands of the nocturnal creatures fitted with bombs and dropped over Japan during the day, safe in the knowledge that they would seek out the dark loft spaces of homes, which were mostly made from wood and paper.
How do you ensure the flight path of the bats?
They know that they they would drop them in a general area and know that they would end up looking for these types of places to hang out, these types of little nooks. So their timed explosive would then explode, starting thousands of fires, which it was hoped would cause enough damage to force Japan to surrender.
Wow.
The idea,
That's a reach.
Eventually named Project X-Ray, was successfully tested on a mock Japanese city in the desert in California.
Mock?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bat?
Yeah.
Bomb?
Yeah.
With that fake city destroyed as intended, the plan only failed to be used on Japan because the program to develop the nuclear weapon had reached its successful conclusion.
Hey, we got a nuclear bomb.
By the summer 1945.
Hey, put the bats down. We got an A-bomb.
All right.
Oh, God damn it. I just worked out the harness.
Military historian Vince Houghton.
You can still go ahead with the butt feeding, though.
Said in hindsight, it may have worked, and it may have been something that would have potentially caused less Japanese deaths than the atomic bombs did.
It seems very scattershot at best.
Mr. Houghton, who is the curator of the International Spy Museum, explained that the idea was dreamt up by dental surgeon Little Adams, who knew Eleanor Roosevelt. Adams had the idea. Or it might be Lytle. That's L-Y-T-L-E.
I want it to be Little Adams.
Adams had the idea after the devastating Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor while he was driving from New Mexico, where there are millions of bats, to his home in Pennsylvania.
Bat bombs.
On discovering that bats could carry multiple times their own body weight, Adams believed that they could be used to launch a devastating attack on Japan.
Let's fill up pelicans' mouths with nitroglycerin.
The dentist, whom Mr. Houghton described as a tinkering inventor, wrote to Mrs. Roosevelt to tell her of the idea.
What if we were to train gorillas to forcibly butt feed Japanese soldiers?
She spoke to her husband, who then ordered William Wild Bill Donovan, the head of Secretive Wartime Intelligence Agency.
Best names.
The Office of Strategic Services, to look into the project. Scientists then built a full-scale mock Japanese city in the Mojave Desert and rounded up a bunch of bats. The experts made the bats go into hibernation by putting them in refrigerated trucks.
Quick question, though. Would this process not also kill the bats?
Yeah, they don't care about killing bats. They then they're going to kill thousands of human beings, so I think the bats are not really they're collateral damage.
All right, man. It's easy for you to say. You're not a bat.
They then fitted them with timed containers filled with the recently invented explosive napalm and packed them into cylinders which would open in midair. So they put them inside that cylinder with the idea that they would drop them. The bats would wake up halfway down, and they would fly out of the cylinder, and they would do their actual mission.
The hell is this?
However, the scientists initially miscalculated how long it would take the bats to wake up, and so the creatures did not leave the cylinder before they hit the ground, and many died.
Oh, my God. Eventually, FDR took a meeting with one of the bats.
I have an idea for an atomic bomb.
Go on.
Yeah, using atomic energy, we split the atom and cause a chain reaction. This might be better than the mass murder of bats in tubes, dickhead.
The next time Mr. Houghton said they waited too long.
Have you explored butt feeding?
And so when scientists went to load them into the cylinders, they were wide awake and flew out in every single direction.
I today took a meeting with a bat who had an incredible plan for how we can defeat the Japanese in this most despicable war.
The good news is that half of the bats flew straight to the mock-up Japanese city.
Mock?
Went to the eaves and attics of that mock-up Japanese city.
This is insane.
Exploded and burned the Japanese city to the ground. Unfortunately, many of the bats flew to a nearby working Carlsbad U.S. Army Airfield Auxiliary Air Base.
That's what I was saying. So
in New Mexico, and burned down buildings there, too.
You could, unless you had a precise method of controlling where they went, and obviously you would love to have been able to save as many civilians as possible, but this is so... But, you know, it's not... They were attaching bombs to dolphins. You know? I mean, it was a standard sort of thing. They were trying everything.
There was a similar project called Project Pigeon, and essentially it's the same thing where they would strap these bombs to pigeons and drop them off. And it was developed by B.F. Skinner.
No kidding.
Yeah.
The psychologist.
But it also, where bat bombs failed, they thought pigeons could save the day.
Okay.
Well, the dentists were obviously leading the war effort.
Yeah.
No proctologists unless you consider the butt feeding.
Well, I guess technically that could be it. So anyhow, the time of the result of the project in the summer of 1945 meant that it had clashed with the results of the successful program to develop nuclear weapons, and so the bat bombs were never put into use.
That is amazing. To me, though, on the surface, it would seem rife with issues, and obviously, as you pointed out, it was.
There's a whole other story where they wanted to make these, and we have to wrap up the historian segment, where they wanted to do these buried nuclear bombs that were they were going to keep them from exploding by keeping chickens inside of them.
Yes.
Because it had to do with the warmth of their body. It's really weird, the things that they considered using as weapons back in the day.
You remember the Project Easter Egg, where they were going to paint landmines as eggs?
Oh, my God.
And then invite the Nazis out to go Easter egg hunting.
Wow. Okay.
And then it didn't work.
All right. And there you go. That is what I have in the historian for you. It's been a long time.
It's been a while, but we had one of our best historians ever. We went from butt feeding to, we went from guerrilla army to butt feeding to bat bombs.
Yes. How can you not love those? So we'll do it again sometime. Interesting, strange, and shocking stories.
Wow.
From our past.
That's a hell of a historian.
We're leaving the library, and we're headed into a commercial break. We'll be back in a second. Make sure you stay with us, because the Bizarre Files coming up next.
Preston and Steve on 93.3 WMMR.
93.3 WMMR, celebrating 40 years of Pierre on the air.
And so it came upon October 27,
Think kind of build off of
2008.
that.
The director
Game
is
5 of the
Peter Antencio. Is that how it's pronounced?
Peter Intencio.
Intencio. So he's from Key and Peele, and he did the movie Keanu as well, right?
Yeah.
The guy's...
And then you forget, like, he really puts the work in. Like, I'm doing a wardrobe fitting the other day, and they're like, well, he sees a lot of oranges in this movie. And I was like, he's thinking about colors? And they're like, yeah, he's a director, you moron.
He's concerned with visuals?
I was like, I'm so used to doing, like, Instagram videos, I don't think about anything.
You don't think about color correction and things like that.
Oh, that's great.
So you're in quarantine right now for a couple days, right? When does filming actually start?
Filming, we have rehearsals for a couple weeks.
Okay.
Filming starts, I think, May 4th.
May 4th.
May
okay.
the 4th be with you. That's right.
You gotta be kidding me.
Excellent.
Yeah, what's hilarious is we put out the video and it's got a lot of traction, and like everyone hit me up. Like even like people who don't get fazed by it, like Rogan was like, dude, Mark Hamill's your dad? And then and then I went on the news and my news Google feed, and I was in my own Google feed news, and it said Bert Kreischer is not going to rehab.
Yeah, Bert, I got an email from someone who was like, hey, since he's your godfather, I thought I'd reach out to you. Is Bert really going to rehab, or was that a joke?
I was like, there's no way.
There's no way. Yeah.
I said it to Casey.
Yeah, we were doing Two Bears, One Cave, and Segura wanted to say, congrats on the movie, and we couldn't talk about it yet.
Right.
And he goes, tell everyone where you're going. And I go, I can't. And he goes, just say it. And I go, I can't. And he goes, say it. And I go, I'm going to rehab. And it made us laugh, and we just kept talking about it. And then we forgot to say, I'm not going to rehab. Angela, everyone sent me these really heartfelt messages like, this is a new step in your journey.
Oh, my God.
Bert, have we spoken?
More believable that I would be going to rehab than shooting a movie.
Yeah.
Have we spoken to you since the whole Jennifer Aniston thing happened?
No, you have not.
Okay, so for our listeners, explain how that all came, how that all happened.
So Segura and I were doing Two Bears, One Cave, and he made up a lie, and he said he met Jennifer Aniston. and I really fell for it. And it was a funny story, a funny lie. And then I said, we should make a pact. If we ever meet Jennifer Aniston, we've got to bring the other one with us. And he's like, okay. He's like, well, let's set up the scenario. You pitch it to her. How would you want to meet? And I said, I want to meet at her house. And he's like, that's a little aggressive to say, I want to meet at your house. And I was like, well, we can't do it at my house. We can't do it at your house. And he's like, should we bring our wives? I'm like, no. And then I go, can she bring someone? He goes, yeah, probably for safety. And then he caught himself and he goes, maybe that's not the message we want to send out.
You're going to need protection.
Laughing at the idea that we were pitching that he should bring safety to a meeting with us, and we laughed probably for 10 minutes. Literally just laughed for 10 minutes. And then one night, I'm getting ready to, I get done working out. I'm at the new house. I'm getting ready to have a cocktail, and Segura calls me and he goes, "Have you checked your DMs?" And I was like, "Wait, what?" And he goes, "Check your DMs." I checked my DMs and I got a DM from Jennifer Aniston. Wow. And we lost it. I mean, it was like you guys are the funniest guys. And then we're like, do not let her watch any of the Reese Witherspoon stuff we've done. I don't think she'll think we're funny anymore.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. Wow.
It was crazy.
So going back to the movie for a second, Bert, Mark Hamill's the only name that's been announced associated with this. Is there, can we leak a little information here on the Preston and Steve Show? Anybody else that we might know is involved in the project?
I don't know. I don't know how to say their names.
Are you using a lot of local actors or actors from Europe that we might not be familiar with?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're using a lot of them. The guy playing Igor is awesome. I mean, if I send you his video, I'll send you his video.
Yeah.
If I can get it today, I'll send it to you, and you will fall in love with this dude the second he says the machine. Okay. That's my favorite casting probably that I've seen. Actually, everyone's great. The girl. I don't know who I can say, but by the way, I can't even say any of their names. So.
Yeah. No, it's so cool.
I would love to see like Boban. How do you say his last name? Basketball player, 7'5".
He's in John Wick 3, Parabellum. Yeah,
that guy would be great. I don't know. But anyway, that's not what I wanted to ask you. So you do Two Bears in One Cave. You're also doing this podcast with Bill Burr. We're actually going to have Bill Burr on the show tomorrow. So why do you giggle like that?
I bet that guy makes me giggle. Has he ever told you? Has he ever told you about the time he was at the Sistine Chapel?
No.
Should we ask him about it?
Or is he going to get mad?
No. He was like, "I'm such a moron, Bert." He goes, I'm at the Sistine Chapel with my wife, and we're looking up, and I'm thinking, this is great. You know what? If someone was smart, they'd open a bar right outside here and call it the 17th Chapel.
17th? The 16th Chapel.
That's fantastic. We giggled so hard. We did a podcast with Stanhope.
That's great.
And all we did was talk about day drinking, best day drinking scenarios. And Bill hasn't drank in like 2 years. Yeah. And I swear to God, all of us almost fell off the wagon.
By the way, here's a connection. You're going to be related to Mark Hamill in The Machine, and Bill Burr's on The Mandalorian. You're all now living in the Star Wars universe to some extent. That's pretty wild.
Yeah, what's interesting is I got an offer to be on The Mandalorian like 2 months ago. They hit me up. They sent me with this role, and they're like, "Hey, you interested?" And I was just like, "I'll pass." What? And my daughter lost it. They're like, "Why? What are you doing?" And I was like, "Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't really." Not really like I don't watch The Mandalorian. Like I tried to watch it, I couldn't get into it.
Right.
And my daughters lost it. They lost it.
It's a great show. It's so freaking good. Yeah.
Yeah. And so then when we got Mark Hamill to play my dad, I went, I think I'm still a Jedi, guys. Like, it runs in the family.
Bill's whole thing is he's always made fun of the Star Wars universe. He's always, and here he is, and he jokes, he talks about, you're friends with him. And here he is square in the middle, and now he's having to sort of sheepishly say, okay, I kind of get it now,
Oh, yeah, wait, that's a great one. Ask him to tell you about all the stuff going on in season 1. Say, "Hey, Bill, the seasons you did, tell us about the story."
Oh, he has no idea.
He hasn't watched any of them.
All right, yeah, we'll get him on that.
Bert, it was years ago. We had done this live broadcast. Basically, it was from like a trash company, right? So it's a place. They won an opportunity. They did a charity drive, and they won an opportunity for us to broadcast live. And Bill Burr came out, and we actually flew him out to this live broadcast in a helicopter. I don't know if he's going to remember that, but it was so funny because that was like the first taste of the real Bill Burr that I got because we wanted to play this game called Crack Shot, right? And Crack Shot is listeners call up, give us trivia questions. If we get it wrong, we get shot with a BB gun. And so we wanted him to be the shooter. And he's like, no, I'm not doing it. No, I don't want to do it. He's like, you know, I was like, oh my God. I'm like, this. I think we just offended Bill Burr. Like, this is like shooting people with a BB gun is beneath him. He's like, nah, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, we weren't shooting him.
No, he was going to shoot us. Yeah.
But still, he didn't like it, so that was fine. Yeah, it apparently didn't hurt his career, so he's doing fine. Yeah. So how long will the shoot be taking place for the machine, Bert?
3 months.
3 months. Okay, wow.
Is your family coming out at all?
My wife is. Yeah. She comes out in like 2 weeks, and then I wanted the girls to come out, but everything's still kind of weird with COVID.
Yeah.
I wanted to go through Europe with them. I was like, we're never gonna get this opportunity again.
Does she get the Gulfstream 550 treatment too, or will she be flying? You're laughing. Lufthansa.
Yeah, there you go,
Coach. Take the loofah, honey.
Should be flying standby. If you think about this, Bert, listen, this has been a traumatic, horrible year for the planet as far as, you know, all the stuff that's been going on. But you have been on a career high.
Yeah.
You have been on fire. It started with your Netflix special, the Go Big show, the Cabin show. Every time you turn around, you got something out. Now you're in production on the machine. Have you had time to pause and process how things are going? In light of all that's not going right, you are the one shining beacon.
I had a great 2020. I don't know what everyone was
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Harvard Medical School actually called you to give a talk on how to properly set a bone in somebody's arm based on what you did for Tom Segura.
Yeah, Tom blew out his knee and broke his arm. I had a great game that day. I don't know what he's talking about.
Casey references all the time and just starts cracking up at you going over.
Just because you didn't like the way his arm looked, you're like, you shouldn't do your arm shouldn't be like that. Let me do that. And then you gave him a little tap, on the. Hey, good job, buddy. Dude, it makes. Sometimes I just think about it and I laugh. That was so funny.
Yeah, I did a tour. I did 4 tours. I did the vet. I had a fun 2020, man. Everyone's complaining about it.
It seems like Bert. It seems like 10 years ago that we were in the parking lot and you were doing the show. And but here we are. Yeah, but at least the general consensus and feeling is that we're moving out of this, which is good.
The last thing that we did as a show collectively with listeners involved Bert at the Cardboard Classic.
Yeah,
I mean, that was a little more than a year ago at this point, but Bert was there for that, and then. The crap at the fan, man.
Yeah.
Everything stopped.
And then the Buccaneers won the Super Bowl. That's your team.
This has been a really great year, man. Things are looking up and up.
Wow. All right. Well, listen, man, it's exciting news, and this whole thing with Mark Hamill it's just the coolest. So
it's unbelievable.
We'll hope that filming goes well and everything runs its course, and hopefully we'll be talking to you soon, man. But we appreciate you checking in all the way from Serbia this morning.
Well, thank you guys. I love you guys. I really do. Thank
Likewise.
You
excellent.
Yeah.
All right.
Talk
We
to
love
guys
you.
Later.
Bert Kreischer, guys. Thanks, man. Take care, bud.
That's awesome.
All right. So,
Jesus.
wow. He's
so cool.
He's living the life, dude.
Now,
he's living the life. And I hadn't thought about that until you pointed that out, Steve.
Yeah.
That the world has gone to hell and Bert Kreischer's is just on top of everything.
The pinnacle of his career.
Well, good for him. Or to take an instrument
that's been around for so long
and give it a new sound. And that's what I think our next guest has done. And he comes loaded with accolades and is well vetted.
Just a bit.
In the world of jazz music. And I know that us being a rock station may not be familiar with him, which is why we want to have him on this morning. Turning on to something. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Antonio Sanchez. Is here this morning. How are you, man?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Nice to meet you. My pleasure. It's wild. I'm nervous talking to you because we have 2 drum kits set up in here. And by the way, it's their idea that you and I play together, and we've done it a few times. We've had some some pretty big names in the world of drums here. I've played against or with Mike Portnoy.
I like that.
Mike Portnoy, Questlove have done it, and but I'm
not
more intimidated in sitting down playing with you than either of those guys.
Oh, don't worry, I'll go really easy.
No, don't worry about it. I don't want to have foods you plan to serve or eat while watching the Super Bowl this year. So I'm gonna read off all of the ones that they asked about.
Mm-hmm.
You guys tell me which one you thought was most people said yes to.
Okay.
All right. So pizza, nachos, cheese and crackers, burgers, chicken wings, cookies, ice cream, and chips and dip.
What was the number one of those?
Yeah. What do you think?
I mean, the one that usually gets I believe, is probably the wings.
I would go
and pizza.
Yeah, no, really, I would go pizza less. I would probably normally I would have gone with you with the wings, but I think chips and dip is probably the number one.
All right.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I think chips and dip too.
Yeah, chips and dip.
It is chips and dip. Chicken wings is second. Pizza's third, Case.
There you go.
Pizza's way up there.
We're very good at this.
Now it's set. Now okay, and then it says nachos.
That's chips and dip.
That's kind of I count that as chips and dip.
Okay.
I mean, it's not technically
Like a
dip.
It's a combo of chips and dip.
Yeah.
This is the worst list ever.
It makes it, but it's its own category as a result.
And I guess because nachos,
It's like
I think,
bronze.
Yeah, it's like what?
It's like bronze. You know, it's like you combine copper and zinc, you get bronze.
Are people eating bronze for Super Bowl?
No, I'm making an
really
analogy.
shouldn't.
Yeah, that's what Transformers eat when they watch the Super Bowl.
This is excellent bronze.
Here, dip it in this aluminum.
Honey, more platinum, more platinum. Yeah, very good.
I didn't. Okay, I had no idea.
I want to make a clarification going back to the bronze
Please
joke. Brass is copper and zinc.
Oh my God.
Bronze is copper and tin.
Are you sure this is bronze?
Question: which, if any, of the following foods do you plan to
who's
serve? 58
or
years old, along with two other Germans, are now in custody over the torture and murder of von Brito and his 14-year-old daughter Lorena Lydia. In their home. 4 of von Brito's Stradivarius violins were found in Granaz's home. So he had these Stradivariuses, and this guy essentially was stealing them.
It's unbelievable.
The 2 victims had been tortured. The older von Brito was found flung on a table, dead from a gunshot wound to the head, with signs of torture on his body. His daughter was found in the bathtub with a gunshot wound to her belly.
What's a Stradivarius going for these days?
It depends, but it can be millions.
Yeah.
Millions of dollars. So the 2 were likely killed somewhere else on the property and dragged to their final resting place. Evidence at the scene indicates that 2 or more individuals sought something inside the house. They believe that upon researching the value of von Brito's collection, violins made by Italian luthier Antonio Stradivari are worth millions. One sold for $13.1 million in 2011. He had made 960 violins, just 650 remain, making them incredibly valuable. Granaz likely understood the value, and officials say that he would have tried to get the authentication certificates from von Brito to sell them. None of the 3 men have been officially charged with homicide yet, but those charges could be coming soon. It is unclear where the violins or the certificates of authenticity are now. Messed up, man. This is messed up, too. Sorry about all this, but these are the stories that I got from the weekend. An 11-year-old Austrian girl was reportedly infected with gonorrhea after bathing in a popular thermal pool while on vacation in Italy.
Seriously?
That can happen?
Oh, God.
The girl was diagnosed with a Neisseria gonorrhea following a dip in the hot spring off the island of Pantelleриa's Crater Lake Specchio de Venere, also known as the Mirror of Venus.
Wouldn't you be under the assumption that would kill any sort of
in a thermal pool,
germ or anything or virus?
2 days after her family visited the pool, researchers from New Zealand's University of Auckland and Austria's University of Salzburg said that the girl developed vulvovaginitis.
Oh my God!
Vulvovaginitis is an inflammation or irritation.
It's the new sports car from Italy.
It's also a very funny word. Vulvovaginitis is an inflammation or irritation of the vagina and vulva, and the condition was partially relieved with over-the-counter antifungal cream. Vaginal swabs cultured positive for the bacterial pathogen responsible for gonorrhea, but the child's family members tested negative. The reports showed that the family had split up, with her and her father wading into the pool and her mom and younger sister in another. Because the girl adamantly denied any sexual contact and no opportunities for sexual exposure could be identified, it was concluded that she must have acquired the infection from the pool water contaminated by gonococcus after a 2-day incubation period.
Were they able to get any samples that confirmed its presence in the...
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Eventually, the infection was successfully treated using ceftriaxone and azithromycin with no adverse effects. The girl's pediatrician recommended whey baths for a period of 2 weeks.
You want to do a whey bath.
To help restore her vaginal flora.
Yeah.
And
that's the
symptoms
plan you put.
settled within a few days. A repeat swab 4 weeks later was negative.
This is astonishing.
So here's what they say. The experts believe that the temperature of the slightly acidic water served as a potential source of the infection.
Ugh.
Right?
Again, you would think completely the opposite, that it would be killing that stuff.
The study's authors said that there needs to be public understanding regarding the risk of exposure to pathogens by bathing in heavily frequented shallow thermal pools.
That's why I don't care where I am. If I get into a hot tub, I taste the water first.
You should. Just take a big sip
See if
of
I can
it.
taste for
See if
any
it's
gonorrhea or
sour.
syphilis.
Mhm.
Yes.
All right, one last story, and we will end. Yeah, let's end with this one, all right? A Washington man is going to prison for 20 months for running an illegal logging operation, and it was the DNA of big leaf maple trees that helped put him there. Or was it one tree in specifically? In the first federal case to use tree DNA as an evidence.
How about that?
Justin Andrew Wilk and his team of poachers stole the highly prized maple trees from the Olympic National Forest and sold the wood with forged permits. At the trial, a research geneticist for the U.S. Agricultural Department's Forest Service testified that the wood that Wilk sold was a genetic match to the remains of 3 poached maple trees that investigators had discovered. The DNA analysis...
The prosecution's expert witness was Groot.
The DNA analysis was so precise that it found the probability of the match being coincidental was approximately 1 in 1 undecillion, which is a 1 followed by 36 zeros.
Well, that's pretty conclusive.
The novel tree genetics convinced the jury members following a 6-day trial to convict Wilk for conspiracy, theft of public property, trafficking in unlawfully harvested timber, and other offenses as well.
That is apparently a source of crime, that sort of stuff going on. And there's a lot of money to be made. It's interesting that they were able to do DNA test.
All down to the exact,
exact
log
Oh.
that this guy sold. It's pretty wild. All right, and there you go. That's what I have in the bizarre file for you. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll come back in a second. We'll test your knowledge, see if you've been paying attention. Today's lesson question is up when we return. Stay there. Hey, the Oscars were last. Hey! How about all of that? So, yeah, they had a red carpet and the full deal. The documentary feature went to My Octopus Teacher.
Yay!
It's been mentioned several times on the show, so wanted to throw that in there. Accepting was the octopus.
Wow, great.
And there was no wrap-up music. He just kept sucking and clicking and doing that whole thing for a long time. So,
Is that him walking up?
Suction cups, yeah.
That's him walking up to the podium. It was awkward, but listen,
Yeah.
I mean, he was the star of the film.
It is a hell of a movie if you get a chance to see
I do
it.
need- I-
Think
I
of
really-
a nomad land, but with sea creatures.
They really should have put the octopus in the in memoriam section. I don't know why they didn't.
Did he die?
Well, he's an octopus. I mean, the movie came out like 2 years ago.
How long does your average octopus live?
I'll bet
The length of a documentary movie.
I'll bet they live longer than you think.
No,
And I'll
they
bet
don't.
They live like a year.
They don't.
Watch,
Really?
Yeah, watch the movie.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wait,
you saw it too, Kathy?
Yeah,
I saw
it's
the
great.
movie, and I don't remember that shocking piece of
That's
news.
sad.
What?
Poor thing.
All
Maybe,
right,
well,
I'm
maybe
gonna
it was a
check
thing.
it out.
3 to 5 years.
3 to 5
All right,
years.
see, they're already getting longer lives.
See, he could still
1 year.
He could have accepted the award.
I wouldn't have wasted time with this dickhead then if I was an actor. I got a little living to do, baby.
All right, Yolanda Hadid
I know Yolanda
is in love with. Thank you, Casey.
You're welcome.
In love with her daughter Gigi Hadid's daughter Kai.
So she loves her granddaughter?
She does.
Oh, my
Steve.
God.
I told
So
you.
who got the scoop on this
The
one?
news is big here this morning.
Wow.
Don't go to press yet.
Yeah.
I've got something.
She shared a tribute.
Yolanda Hadid, granddaughter.
She,
Do you have a source that can confirm this? I'm not going with this unless you have corroboration.
well, they heard from an octopus that actually.
In a parking garage.
Yeah.
The octopus was in the shadows, but.
I have it on good authority that Yolanda Hadid loves her granddaughter.
Oh my God!
Would you go on record with that?
You are people who don't want this information out.
Oh my God!
He's scared, man.
I'm very scared.
And then he just walked away. That's my new favorite thing. The octopus walking away. He had a cavernous room with lots of reverb so you can hear it.
I can see you're an octopus. Even in shadow.
He's got a trench coat on.
He doesn't even need a trench coat. He's got like this amazing camouflage.
Listen, he's running now. Oh, man. Yeah, Casey, he just blends in with the floor.
Yeah. It's amazing.
A dove formerly owned by Prince has passed away.
Yeah. Well, you know, he was big into the doves when doves cry.
Of course. But I didn't know that he had, well, this particular dove was named Divinity.
Yeah.
Female white dove owned by Prince. She died on Tuesday following a recent decline in her health due to her age. She was 28 years old.
That is an exceptionally old dove.
Yes.
Yeah.
I had a cat that lived to 22, and that seemed like an eternity for a pet lifespan.
Yes.
But listen, I know that some birds, like African greys and so on, can live for like 80 years.
Absolutely.
But I
They
didn't think
usually outlive their owners.
But I didn't think a dove had that kind of a shelf life, for lack of a better
I bathed
term.
in the purified waters of Lake Minnetonka. And that
Must have been
what
what
I
did it.
attribute my longevity to.
Well, longevity for divinity.
Following Prince's death in 2016, Divinity remained at his Paisley Park and could be seen during the tours of his former estate.
Divinity conducted the tours.
According to the executive director of the Paisley Park tours, said Divinity's beautiful coo has welcomed visitors since Paisley Park first opened its gates to the public in October 2016. She was one of the enduring links to Prince for thousands of fans. She will be missed.
I would love to go to Paisley Park.
Me too.
I read there was a really fascinating article. Prince started writing an autobiography, and he hired a writer to help him write it. And so a year or so before he died, the writing process began, and the writer spent a lot of time in Paisley Park. And I've gained so much more of an appreciation for Prince after his death, which makes me feel guilty for some weird reason. But just everything that went into Paisley Park and his life is really amazing.
I was just watching a replay of yesterday of him at the Super Bowl when he did the halftime. It was awesome.
Yeah, and his version, along with Danny Harrison and Tom Petty of "While My Guitar Gently Weeps" from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony years ago, is just unbelievably great.
The outside of Paisley Park looks like a
school or
yeah. You would not.
like
you would
that.
have no idea.
What I haven't seen are pictures of the inside.
It's pretty amazing. I mean, it's like a modern Graceland. Like it's Prince through and through.
Our old boss has been to parties there, Jim McGuinn, because he's a program director in Minneapolis, and that's where it is.
That's cool.
So yeah, I would love to
Elevator
go
inside and all the whole deal.
So in addition to Divinity, Prince also owned a dove named Majesty, which according to reports were quiet. Both of them were quiet in the immediate days following his death, but they perked up after hearing his music.
I don't want to talk.
And a new generation of doves will continue to live on.
This is what it sounds like when doves cry. I'm gonna throw up.
That's what it sounds like.
That's what it sounds
When
like.
doves cry?
Yeah. They were upset about Prince's death.
I swear to God, I'm going to throw up.
Oh my God! Hey, are doves the same things as pigeons?
No.
No,
They're related.
They are related.
Yeah, they're in the same bird family.
That's what I mean.
If you look at their license, there's a delineation.
Okay.
My dad and I used to go dove hunting regularly. We used to blast those things out of the sky.
Dude, I mean, come on.
We'd eat them.
I know, but still, it's like puppy hunting. You know? It's so nice and cute and peaceful.
They're different than the ones that you see. They're,
Okay.
they're the gray colored
They kill
ones.
families.
Okay.
Yes.
They are all tatted up.
He was doing service to the families of Kentucky.
They are literally the symbol for peace, however.
Yes. I was completely eaten by a dove today. Anyone kill them for us.
Son, we got work to do.
We beat it to death with an olive branch.
I have a hair change story that
That's a cool sound effect.
After splitting from her fiance, Dale Moss, Bachelorette alum Claire Crawley is ready for love and a new pink hairdo.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
I saw it.
Yeah?
I've not seen it.
It's not over the top.
It's not crazy hot
It's
pink.
light. She says she wanted to show that she could do something crazy.
Okay.
As we observed, everything she's done shows she can do something crazy.
Oh, you're right. It's a nice pink. It's like an ombre.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. She didn't go. I was thinking like shocking. Like Katy Perry when she had super pink hair. Anyway.
Getting the tattoo of Florida on her forehead.
Did you see that guy?
I did.
Yes. He's got a tattoo of the state right on his forehead.
Ridiculous.
All righty, buddy. Source tells us she sees her time. See Sebastian Maniscalco's Nobody Does This tour, Wells Fargo Center, November 24th. So we just had him on last week. He was great. Question that I think we're going to go with, we have to go with this. What child could be named after the sound of a big rock being dropped into water?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if you can remember what that was. 215-263 WMMR. It's a good name for a child. Casey liked the sound of the rock being dropped into the water. What would it be? 215-263 WMMR. We'll do the trash while you call.
The trash business is a gold mine. 93.3 WMMR with Preston and Steve's Hollywood Trash.
Brought to you by KGL Skin Study. They are testing a new body lotion to help with rough, dry skin. Apply at KGLSkinStudyCenter.com if you have a patch of mild to moderate dry skin. Pays up to $300 for participation. So, yeah, look into that. Let's take a look at the trash. What's going on, Steve?
Well, former Bachelor star Ben Higgins was married over the weekend to Jessica Clark, who he met online 2 years ago. Higgins says it's funny that he went on The Bachelor to find Mrs. Right when all the while she was right there on Pornhub.
Hey!
Oprah Winfrey revealing why she made a last-minute outfit change while interviewing Adele this weekend. Oprah says the lighting on set made her outfit look slightly see-through, and also she totally crapped herself.
I didn't see this see-through outfit.
And finally, Paris Hilton had a 3-day wedding extravaganza that ended with a blowout celebration on Saturday night. Attendees say things got really crazy when the Domino's party box arrived. That's Hollywood Trash.
All right, we'll see if anyone knows the answer to this question. I think I'm going to be a stickler on this.
All right, you got to be.
Yeah, I want to hear exactly what we said earlier. What child could be named after the sound of a big rock being dropped into the water? 215-263 WMMR. I will go to Bobby, see if he can get it right. Hey, Bobby.
Hello, how's it going?
Good. All right, Bobby, what would the child be named after the sound of a big rock being dropped into water?
Glorth?
Glorth? No, that is incorrect. Sorry. We'll go next to Mike. Hey, Mike?
Yo!
All right, Mike, what would the baby named be?
Kerslop?
Kerplop. No, that is incorrect. Nope. All right, we'll go to Zoe. Hi, Zoe.
Hello.
Hi, Zoe. What would it be called?
Kerblunk.
No, not Kerplunk. Had to heard. We said it many times.
We did, about 40 times.
We said it over and over, so I do want to be clear on that. Let me go over next to Craig. Hey, Craig.
Hey, what's up?
What's that?
What's up?
Hey, Glorth?
Glarth. No, incorrect. Like I said, I'm going to be a stickler on this.
No, you said so. You made that's a judging factor. We got to stick with it.
We said it over and over.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing a few repeats of calls that have already come in. So I tell you what, let's get into music news, and I'll wait for some more calls to come up, and then we'll see if we can get ourselves.
Oh, wait. Let me.
A winner. Yeah, you got to change that over, and then
move that
here's
thing.
what I'll do, Case. You got it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Let's do music.
Now, Preston and Steve's Music News on 93.3 WMMR.
Brought to you this morning by Horizon Services. Last thing you need is plumbing problems with visitors in town. You can visit Horizon Services because they're offering up to $200 off select plumbing repairs with same-day service. Visit horizonservices.com. Hang on. We might have a winner. I'm going to Eric. Hey, Eric.
Hey, what's up?
All right. What should a baby be named if it's being named after the sound of a big rock being dropped into the water?
Gablort?
Gablort. Yep. Hang on a second, Eric. We're going to give you a pair of tickets to see Sebastian Maniscalco's Nobody Does This tour coming to Wells Fargo Center on November 24th. Tickets on sale now at Wells Fargo Center Philly.com. And that is that. Okay, music news. Back to that. Let's start with this. M. Sean Crahan, a.k.a. Clown, missed Slipknot's appearance at the Welcome to Rockville Festival this weekend due to an injury that he sustained at Knotfest earlier this month. The drummer shared on Instagram that he underwent surgery to repair a torn tendon in his bicep on Friday.
Oh, boy.
And is recovering peacefully, he says.
I don't feel so good.
He added, I can't express how happy and blessed I am to have been able to come back to touring after all that we as a community have been through in the last couple of years.
Thankfully, I had some great doctors in my corner.
And I promise that I will see you all very soon. So he is on the mend.
Ta-ta!
As Skillet prepares to release their next album, they posted a lyric video to their new single called Standing in the Storm. Frontman John Cooper says that a big decision about the band came from a line in his wife and band member Corey Cooper's journal. He said she had written the line, I've still got some life in me. And he said, we're getting older, our kids are getting older, and the world is falling apart. So there's a part of me that's like, do you really want to go back on the road in the midst of a pandemic? Do we want to keep this business going? And then she showed me this passage in her journal, and I was really impacted. I started to think, yes, there's a lot of crazy things going on, but I'm not done. This is the second release from the upcoming 12-track album Dominion. It'll be out on January 14th. The first release, Surviving the Game, has already accumulated over 6.5 million streams, and video has been viewed nearly 3 million times. I like those guys. They're really nice.
They're really nice.
Whenever they've been here, they've just been nothing but super cordial and fun. So I like that. Tears for Fears announced a new tour in support of their album, The Tipping Point, set to kick off next year.
Well, I think I'm going to see that then.
They're coming to Philly.
Bagster.
Sponsored by the Bagster.
One of the greatest concerts I ever saw was Tears for Fears at the Beacon Theater in New York.
Well, this one will be at the Pavilion at the Man on
No.
June 21st. I don't know what day of the week that is, but
The Man that's a perfect place. All right, guys, just I'm going to buy tickets.
All right.
Kurt Smith, co-founder, said, we couldn't be more excited to start playing concerts again. We've missed seeing our friends on the road, around the world, and the energy of performing live. Roland Orzabal said about the tour, The Tipping Point has been a long time in the making, and we are looking forward to playing our favorites from the new album as well as our classics from throughout the years.
The first day of summer, 2022, and Steve, it's a Tuesday.
Perfect.
I'm going to go with you.
Oh yes, we'll go together. We'll double date. We'll have maltage.
Excited.
We have a clip to play with this, KC. Roger Daltrey is the latest rock legend to drag the Rolling Stones, with the Who's singer likening the group to, quote, a mediocre pub band. In October, Paul McCartney first took a little dig at the Stones when, after being asked to compare the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, he said, well, they're a blues cover band. That's sort of what the Stones are. I think that our net was cast a bit wider than theirs. So this is Roger talking a little bit about the Stones. We have two clips.
Yes, we do.
Here we go.
But Mick Jagger, you've got to take your hat off to him. He's a #1 rock and roll performer. But as a band, if you were outside a pub and heard that music coming out of a pub some nights, you'd think, well, that's a mediocre pub band.
And he said, no disrespect after that.
Yeah. No, none taken.
Yeah, no offense.
But he goes on.
No offense, but they're absolutely god awful.
He goes on to say this.
Of all the singers in all the bands, no solos. Whose songs are all lyrics? I mean, I put Robert Plant, he's a very good friend of mine, and we do joke about it. He said that you could go off and read a book when Page started up on a guitar solo or Bonham started on a drum solo. And I suddenly thought, I wonder what it'd been like to have been in a band like that.
I like Roger Daltrey, and I've heard him speak before many times actually. But he's more to talk like this a little bit,
and he laughs like Barney Rubble.
A little more into that. But going back to the Stones, he had said that he did admit that they had written some great songs. He said, but they are in that blues format. As for measuring up the Beatles and the Stones. Daltrey said, it's like comparing apples and cheese. So they're both really tasty, but the cheese does one thing and the apple does another. He said,
he's right about that.
Not specifying which band was which food in that particular analogy.
I wonder, so is it just happenstance that we're getting this sort of contemporary criticism of the Stones? I mean, it's not going to hurt their career.
Yeah, I think it's just happenstance.
Blah, blah, blah.
Well, I mean, he was... So the reason that Daltrey said that is he was asked about the Paul McCartney thing. So that's why. And then one last story. Ringo Starr, speaking of the Beatles, will be teaching a master class. According to Ultimate Classic Rock, the Beatles member will teach a drumming and creative collaboration class.
Do you think you would do that?
Oh, totally.
I have been sort of flirting with the master classes. There are a lot of them up there just to get that sort of knowledge from somebody I admired. And, there's a whole bunch there that are really good.
If you look for them, you can find clinics. I used to go to musician clinics all the time. I saw some really famous drummers up close and personal showing you how they do it.
Yep.
So you can find them. They have to be, usually they're coming in town with a gig already, and like the day before or earlier in the day, sometimes they'll do sessions.
So I assume this is for the
clinics.
This is for the Masterclass series, right?
Yeah. So this is one of those. So David Rogier, founder and CEO of Masterclass, said Masterclass puts you in the room with the world's best, giving members unprecedented access to the greatest minds of our time. Today's announcements will expand that opportunity with new classes, features, integrations, and partnerships that will help deliver access to the platform to more people in more ways and in more places. This class will launch on November 22nd. So these are these videos that you get, right? So
there's a series.
This isn't sitting down in the same room with them.
Steve Martin has Martin Scorsese,
Ron Howard.
They're all there. And actually, like I was watching a bit of Ron Howard's. I mean, he's showing you how to capture action on a set. They're employing all these different things.
Yeah, very practical.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Should we do this, Preston? I think people would flock to our master class.
On how to do 6 jars and farts.
It'd be Haster-assed.
Ringo's going to do master class. So there you go. Should be pretty cool. And that is all I have for you in the entertainment news, or the music news, which is a form of entertainment.
It absolutely is, man. That's why we're running a master class.
That's what we're doing. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back in a second, and we wrap the whole thing up.
No.
Stay with us.
I'm thinking of getting a Baxter, by the way.
You should get
cleaning out my garage.
My next door neighbor, Steve, has a Baxter out front right now. We'll be back in a moment. Stay with us. With Dale as something of her past and is ready to move forward.
It helped me to learn about myself.
So she has pink hair now.
Okay, the ombre's good. I kind of prefer the Ganon, bro.
What's the Ganon?
Come on,
Ganon, bro.
Keep going. Do it. Finish it.
I'm not finishing it.
It's Ganon, bro. I like the up dog.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Here's the tattoo of the Florida, by the way.
That looks good.
Oh, man,
what is going on?
I know. We have a monitor that's normally in front of us. It doesn't work, and I can't see the photos when they come up. But yes, that's just brilliant. Best performance by an actress in a motion picture drama went to Andra Day for The United States versus Billie Holiday. And overall best motion picture drama went to Nomadland. So There you go. That's our first foray into a very strange awards year.
It was. You know what was one of the weirder things, Preston? At certain points when they were going into a commercial and they had the nominees, they'd put the nominees up and they'd bring up their microphones so that they could sort of like talk and like. And there was, did you see Case? I don't know, because there was a point where Pacino was up for something and they were all, "Hi, Mr. Pacino, I'm a big fan of yours." And there's this cross talk that's not. No one was overseeing it. It was just like you were listening in on a Zoom call.
Wait, so the crosstalk was between the fellow nominees?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So they did that a couple times. If they ever do this again, they should not do that again.
Yeah, that's kind of weird, right?
It's very weird.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is something supposed to be happening?
What was great, though, is when Soul won for best, I think it was best animated. Who do you call it? Tracy Morgan pronounced it as Saul, right? He goes, and the winner is, and he goes, Saul. And then there was no reaction because there was no movie called Saul.
Yeah. Right.
And he realized that he had made the mistake, and then they had cut to the. It was for best original song, but either way, the actors. It was Sudeikis. It was the people that were up for the next award.
Right.
They were having a ball with it. They were cracking up. Don Cheadle was making fun of them. It was really.
I think Pacino didn't realize that he was still on the Zoom call because he was standing in the doorway pleasuring himself.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh no, you
How
don't do
awkward
that.
is that?
It feels so good.
Right.
Well, I didn't see that clip. But I did see. I saw a clip.
I'm gonna shout.
Oh my God. Splat.
All over my walls and when my children play with their toys. You were expecting something like that. There were a few people who clearly were not quite up to speed on the tech.
Want to shoot over here?
That was good.
Oh, man.
Right after that.
Yes. Sorry, Nick.
No. This is also comedic. He fell asleep.
What?
Did he?
Yeah.
Was he asleep on camera, Nick?
Yeah. I mean, don't you usually fall asleep right afterwards?
Everybody's sleepy, you know, and you've expanded yourself. So the camera pans across his screen, and listen, his eyes are closed, and he looks like he might have not actually have been asleep, but he looked like he was sleepy.
That was so much fun. Pleasure.
Oh no, the poor guy. Old.
I don't feel so good.
That's hilarious.
I'm up and out.
So, according to a new survey presented by the Water Quality and Health Council, 51% of Americans reported using a swimming pool as a communal bathtub, using the pool as an alternative to showering or rinsing off after engaging in exercise or yard work or whatever it may be. Even though 64% of Americans know that pool chemicals don't eliminate the need to shower, people continue to do it anyway. By the way, the survey comes as experts from the council, the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, and, which I didn't know existed, the Pool and Hot Tub Alliance.
Oh, that's right. That's what Darth Vader faces off in the second movie.
Work to educate the public on healthy and safe swimming.
We shall crush the Pool Alliance.
Yes, my name is Mortimer Sanchez, and I'm with the Pool Alliance. And we think you're a bad leader.
The survey also revealed that 24% of Americans would go into a pool within 1 hour of having diarrhea.
See, that's that's why public pools are just not my thing. However,
all day on the toilet. You know what I need to do? I need to take a swim.
Get some of that residual roll out.
To check the chlorine and pH levels for a personal public pool, the council is offering free pool test kits through its 15th annual Healthy Pool campaign on its website.
This is the Alliance.
This is the Pool and Hot Tub Alliance.
Did you mention in this story, Preston, particular sunblocks affecting?
I didn't mention
You
this.
may go into the pool now.
Peter Cushing.
Moff Tarkin.
This is the finest pool you'll ever swim in.
What were you saying, Nick? Sunscreens?
Yeah, the reason that I bring it up is that I went on a snorkel, not a scuba, or a snorkel, but a snorkel.
It's latest craze that's sweeping the beaches of America. Snorkeling.
Get some Beach Boys. Music.
Yes!
Yeah.
Good outside, hanging tan, snookling all day long.
Serpent USA, please.
Oh, sorry.
I know what the snookle is, if I may suggest.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Snookle USA.
Like California.
I'm such an idiot.
All right, anyhow.
Snorkeling.
Oh, yeah.
I went snorkeling, and you weren't allowed to wear.
Snorkel at dawn.
You weren't allowed to wear the sunblock that you brought. You had to use the sunblock that they provided for you, and it's because the sunblock that most people wear is damaging to the reef. And I was wondering if it would be damaging at all to like a pool filter or to the saltwater or whatever.
Yeah, because some of the chemicals are pretty arch and have that effect.
Yeah, and I've been snorkeling many times in my life, but this is the first time ever on a snorkel trip where I had to do this. You weren't allowed to wear what you had, what you brought.
They provided.
They provided it for
you. Do you
you,
remember what it was? What type it was?
I don't. It was like an industrial vat.
It was called Reef Killer.
Yeah.
Reef Killer sunblock. A snorkel, by the way, as you're snorkeling, has a second tube that goes up back onto the beach, so that someone could load M&Ms into them, so that you can eat.
You're hungry.
So that's what a snorkel
Right, a
is?
snorkel is a second food tube.
Okay.
So that you can swim long.
Everybody wins.
That's great.
They do have snuba.
Snuba.
Snuba is legit.
I've heard of that, yeah.
Snuba.
Apparently, snorkel is legit as well.
You kidding me?
No, I'm serious.
If you can swim, you can snorkel. Yes, you're absolutely right. Snorkel offers shallow dives.
About 10 to 40 feet without cumbersome tanks and no diving certification necessary. That looks like snuba.
It does.
So what
hose,
what
right?
they do is, well, yeah, they have a floating tank that stays above the water, and you basically take the regulator down, and it's a long tube, a long hose that you can breathe in. We're getting ready to get recertified or to go into a refresher course.
In the home of Oprah.
There was an email that was sent out that we were going to have our studios checked because there may have been bed bugs brought into the area. And we've had everything checked out. They actually just brought a dog in to sniff. Yeah, I think it was Jack Russell is what it looked like.
Josie was her name.
Josie is the dog. And there's no bed bugs.
Well, no, that's not true. There were on a chair.
Oh, was there?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Or yeah, it was sort of like a warm zone or something.
A warm zone.
They call those.
That's what I
But
call my
there's
chairs at home. Yeah, my warm zone.
I think what everybody was worried about was an infestation, which I guess is not the case if it was just on the chair. I don't know.
Just on the chair. The rest of the place is apparently clean. Josie scoured our studio and nothing.
And I'm never coming back again.
You would have thought there was a radiation leak here.
Yeah. So I never told my wife that there was a bed bug.
She wouldn't have let you go to work.
No.
That was the first thing I told my wife, and I started laughing.
Yeah.
Because, listen, I'm surprised that's all we have. They're ripping the entire building apart.
Letter of the day, and I think Casey is going to get us started today.
Preston and Steve on 93.3 WMMR.
Now, the Daily Letter. And the Preston and Steve Show. Brought to you today by The Letter.
S as in sectional.
All right. And we will take it letter at a time. Today is S. What will tomorrow be? You'll need to find out because we'll have 5 altogether by the time Friday rolls around. We're giving away $500, and that is from Ashley Home Store. You can visit their 11 area locations or ashleyfurniture.com for their 12 days of Black Friday sale. So it's all good. Thank you to our sponsors because we're going to wrap this whole thing up right now.
Oh, yeah.
I want to thank Dunkin', the official coffee of the Preston and Steve Show. Also, Acme. Download the Acme app and see your all-new deals, rewards, and perks today. Visit acmemarkets.com for details. And also, Meineke for tires, brakes, batteries, exhaust systems, and more. Meineke, doing car care right. Tomorrow on our program, it is a Tuesday, so we'll give away some free ink, a Preston and Steve tattoo for Tat Tuesday. And we're also going to have Rodney McLeod on. I haven't talked to Rodney in a little while, so we'll see how he is doing. And that's it. We're done, gang. Rage on. Have yourself a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Pierre is in next. Bye-bye.